Showtime here on Racing Post Live. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to this final Saturday of February. A little something for everyone. The sun is out and time to have some fun. We're going to be going to Kempton. Of course, we'll be kicking off in the 150. The Pendle Novice Chase, really well established. Excellent card for us ahead there. We'll be talking about the ground very quickly indeed with the panellists, what they're making of it. One race down at Kempton. We'll be also going up to Newcastle, just a small matter of the Eider Chase over the 4 miles, slightly softer up there we think, and a little bit of sand surfing. We'll be going to the Hever Stakes, that's a 5 furlong burn up around Lingfield's Body Track, and the Winter Derby itself. Plenty going your way. Myself, Dave Orton, delighted to be back with you. Don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook Live, get those comments in for the panellists. Let's get those social questions. We love hearing from our viewers. We've had great feedback over the last couple of weeks. Let's get it on. Who's on the panel then? Right. Tom Collins, 10 Point Tom, is back for the confidence today. Winning nap last Sunday, Soaring Glory. I mean, I also napped that as well. Just want to say that. But you somehow took all the glory for that.
Yeah, well, look, it's John Joynell. You know I love John Joynell, being constantly raving about his yard and his string this season, and it was great to see Soaring Glory finally stamp his name in the highlight his name and go towards the Supreme as a real live player. Yeah,
you put a little sort of like, you know, you must go to the Supreme out on the website.
Festival Files. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you go to the Supreme?
I think what you actually said was along the lines of, let's hope they do the right thing.
Well, the initial headline was a public plea. Wow. But then I changed it before, but it is a public plea because Soaring Glory needs to go to the real player. And
some minutes in that, don't they?
You've got to take on, appreciate it.
10 Point Tom back there. Just a second, because Quizmaster Melrose is back. Keith Melrose, betting editor of Racing Post. Great to have you back, Keith.
Hi Dave, how you doing?
Yeah, really good, really good. It's your sort of day this towards the back end, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. The Eider is one of those races that you sort of circle in your diary, and another 3 mile handicap chase at Kempton as well to finish off. Yeah, towards the end I'm going to be a tail ender, but I'm going to be licking my chops over it, really.
I can imagine at midnight on New Year's Eve, you're like, not long until the Eider. It's your sort of race, and you really fancy one in it, don't you?
Yeah, I did. I had one out for the Eider in tail end of December. Glad to see he was entered up, and it's Salty Boy, but also spoil the surprise now. He's been quite strong all day. I know that Keely and Siegel have both put him up. Usually means you get a bit of money for them. Looks like he might go off favourite. He's a horse that should really thrive under these conditions.
He's been wackoed in the market and keeping us updated on the exchange, what's hot and what's not. Barry Orr's back for another Saturday.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we all?
Absolutely buzzing, Barry. I hear likewise, even in Dublin, the sun does shine on the righteous as well.
Yeah, it certainly does. We've had a bit of fine weather over here, and it just makes such a difference to everybody, especially during this lockdown period. You think Tom would take his jacket off there? He looks like he's getting ready to leave any minute. Stand relaxed, Tom, will you?
He looks a bit like a security guard, doesn't he? If he bolts up a little hitman or something like that.
I just look good, Dave. That's all you're trying to say.
Ah, there we go. I'll tell you what, we'll see about it after your first race. Barry,
when can you get gigging again, Tom?
He looks like he's backstage, doesn't he, at Wembley or something like that?
He's dressed like a bass player.
You wouldn't give him a speaker to carry, would you? It'd have to be a banjo or something like that. Everything. He'd literally capitulate. Barry, you're going to be showcasing the functionality of the exchange for us in every race. 7 beauties today.
Yeah, we've got plenty of exchange angles today, Dave, especially with Newcastle and Lingfield in the mix. Yeah, so looking forward to that. We're winning 1,250 quid so far this month for the Injured Jockeys Fund. So this is our last chance to add to that tally for them. So fingers crossed for the charity that we get a few quid extra for them to add to that, and that we are able to showcase the functionality of the exchange to punters out there who wish to learn about the Betfair Exchange and all the various different elements to it.
Great stuff. Yeah, there are some short ones today, aren't there? Some very long price ones as well, which I'm about to get to because I fancy one in the last. But let's get some social media comments from our viewers. Charles Carter starts the show off with Johnny Drama and Titanic. My 2 for today. Titanic, strong favourite for the Adonis. That's the last Triumph trial, Keith Melrose. I think we could say that, can't we?
Yeah, Jen, I can't remember a Triumph horse that's really entered the picture after the Adonis. But the other thing to watch about the Adonis is the amount of times we've had false dawns in the race. had a lot of horses run away with it,
Yeah.
then gone off short for the triumph and not done it on the day and not really done it again particularly. So let's not imagine it's a real golden ticket, but horses really can put up something quite impressive in that race.
Absolutely. Solo last year, wasn't it? Blew them all away. Of course, they can go on and take out the triumph as well. TC, that's Johnny Drama. That was the other horse, wasn't it, from Charles?
Yeah, top rated in the Winter Derby, and it's got Ryan Moore aboard. We've already seen Ryan Moore to great effect today with 2 wins. The thing is, Johnny Drama's returning from a 7-day layoff against horses like Felix that are race fit, father of Jazz as well, who looks a real live player. He racked up 4 wins on the all-weather last year. His last race at Lingfield was a slight disappointment, so back at this track he's got questions to answer.
But your nap is in that race. This is where it's seamlessly going to that.
Yeah, exactly. Felix is the nap of the day. Holly Doyle back from quarantine after riding abroad at Riyadh. And Felix finished second to Bangkok last time in a good race. Didn't get the run of the race at all. Was out the back in the slowly run race. They quickened up. Felix was the last horse off the bridle, but picked up really well in the straight, and should be getting the better of Felder of Jazz today.
The confidence is oozing from him already. Oh, young TC, absolutely loving life in the Winter Derby. Mark Smith joins the party. Thank you, Mark. He says, hi all, can't see Moskill getting beaten today. So doubled him up with Felix at Lingfield. Back this one straight back to TC. Because I'm imagining you are on Moskill as well, are you? Keeping it simple.
Yeah, I think that's a good double. Moskill's a really exciting horse. Rocket Action's in the field as well. They're the two that should play, should be in the finish in the Hever Stakes. I think Moskill's just got the most potential and should provide another winner for favourite backers.
Third in a Nunthorpe behind Batash. You can tell how the year is progressing, can't you? OK, so I'm going to get mine out the way now, if you don't mind. A bit of housekeeping. Thank you for those viewer comments. Let's keep them coming in. We'll have loads of fun. If you want to know anything about Cheltenham, maybe Grandhouse or anything you want to talk about, we will try and give you a shout out if we possibly can. I've gone for one. Keith knows about this. I've been boring you with it just before the off. I even snuck it in with Barry as well. When the decks came out on Monday for the Close Brothers Handicap, formerly known as the Racing Post Handicap, of course, one was some top notches. That closes the show at 3:35. One just totally stuck out to me, and it was Young Wolf of John Joe O'Neill's. And I just got that feeling. That's something, sometimes you just get this feeling.
I do like when you see one at 33s or something and you just get that tingle that goes, oh yeah, that's wrong.
It's all wrong.
That's
It went
wrong.
out to 50s on Thursday, would you believe it? That didn't last long, let me tell you. But lads, this morning I was out and it was just turning light. And do you know what? There was a full moon. I kid you not. Can you do a wolf impression?
I'm not going to do one.
If it wins,
All right, if it
we're
wins.
all doing a
If it
wolf
wins, we're doing
impression.
one.
Are we now?
Oh, we are, Keith. Absolutely, yeah. So listen, Young Wolf, that's my
I'll
big
tell you,
hope today.
I will if he beats Clondalk Castle into second.
Oh, that's
Definitely.
which is
I'll
your
definitely
fancy in the
That's
race.
what I've put up for the race.
It's one of those great races. You know, there were 18, there are now 17 ones come out, hasn't it? And so let us know what you fancy for that. Am I mad? He's a sea of blue everywhere you look. I'm starting to get a little bit excited now, but it's all about the ground. Keith, let's come to you about this. On Thursday, the going stick was 7.0 at Kempton. It's gone up quicker. For people that don't know, the lower it is, the more bottomless the ground is likely to be. And the higher it is, we haven't seen 7 for a while, have we?
No, not over jumps in the winter at this stage. You know, that's obviously the first buds of spring is 7 on the going stick. Newcastle can get as low as about 3. That's about as low as you get, really. But 7 at this time of year is quite quick. We've watched the first there at Kempton. The ground looks quite fast there. You don't want a mudlark at Kempton today, it's fair to say.
Yeah, and we had one race down on the hurdles course, ran about 4 seconds above standard, and they went of that. So look, we've got the Pendle coming up. 4 runners go to post. Shall we, with 10 minutes to go, get the opening market up? Barry Orr, one has been whacked in the market here. It's for your Betfair ambassador.
Yeah, Tamarack du Matin, 1.89 now, 10 to 9 on. Really strong was 2.20, 5 to 4 against. Came into 1.75 at one stage. So just finding his level now at around the 10 to 9 on mark. 288 is Galaw. And Cool Cody is 11, Son of Kamas Urag at 27. I just have to take on Tamak du Matin. I know he's second to Siskin and it's putting that form to the test, and that's all very good. But I just remember last year he did run well in the Betfair Hurl, and they stepped him up to 2 mile 5 last March in a handicap hurl, and he was very well fancied in it. I think he traded at a low of 204 in running. So even money he traded at, and he came there with every chance, but he just didn't get home over that trip. I think if it's a really true run race, and this will be a true run race in that Galaw will go out in front. He didn't get to the front last day. I think that kind of conspired against him as well. Although he did run well in that King Henry VIII, I think Cool Cody is going to try to get to the front as well. So if they don't cut each other's throat up front, I think they just might outstay Tarmac Dumatan. And at the price, I think he's readily opposable. So we're going to take 50 quid of the backer stake out of him. Please, just a straightforward lay. I'm happy to take the price here, 193. So if we lay him for 50 quid of the backer stake at 193, it'd be about 43 quid loss for us should he win. So that's the first play of the day, just taking him on. Of the field running against him at 10-9 against.
Thank you, Barry. Taking on the first hot pot of the day. Okay, don't forget Barry plays for charity. Safe gambling today. Loads of racing again, isn't there? Coming up, Cheltenham Festival, not too far away. Take your time, have a bit of sport, enjoy the fun. That's what we do here, on Racing Post Live, real-time analysis and reaction, and we'll try and have some fun as well. Nowhere will you get the better previews, and indeed, the report straight after the race about this. Now, you two are with Tamarack. Keith, I want to come to you first on this. A line that Barry used there, if the front two go at each other early, if you're a Tamarack supporter, he can be a bit keen.
Yeah, that's what you want, really, isn't it? He's been showing good form over 2 miles. He's a horse that impresses with how he travels and his speed. So going up to 2.5 miles, what you'd want is two horses that go at each other a little bit to help him settle, because he probably will have more speed than either GA Law or Cool Cody.
Yeah.
But it's a case of him getting settled in those early stages.
Now, if you're the connections of Jamie Snowden, for GA Law, is it Garlaw or GA Law? He's ex-French, isn't he?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that
same
question. Oh, no, not again. The French.
It was a
coming
French thing coming up. We had Alan King yesterday on the show we were doing, and A Perfecto, I think, is right.
Oh,
not
is it?
Es Perfecto, like you were calling.
I just played it safe. That's what
We
I
might
was doing.
get him doing a commentary as well, which could pull the whole show down, couldn't it? But, I don't know. Is it GA Law or Garlaw? Is Garlaw with Barry GA Law? We'll have to. I don't know.
Gaz not a word I know. So
It's
I'm
a
just
really tricky one, isn't
sticking
it?
with GA. Yeah, it's a...
We'll go with Garlaw for a minute. We need Scott Burton, our French correspondent, to tell us. Don't we?
Indeed, yeah.
Now, if you're the connections of that 5-year-old, one 5-year-old has won this race in the past 10 years, Quizmaster Melrose, can you get it?
Oh, God, would it have been...
Oh, I've got him.
Have you got... Yeah, I've got me.
Bowled him at the first opportunity.
Yeah, I've got it.
It's a very famous 5-year-old. I'll let you think about that.
Oh, it'll be Frodon.
He got it. Unbelievable. Just as it looked like it was going to go back onto the stumps, he bats it away. If you're the connections of that, and Cool Cody, the Paddy Power Gold Cup winner, who nicked a lead that day at Evan Williams, are you thinking, well, we know if we go too hard early, we're going to set it up for the fab, so it doesn't always play out, does it?
No, it doesn't play out, but these two horses are best when they go from the front. Now, Garlaw, we've seen on multiple occasions, on his first 3 starts this campaign, he won going from the front, and then last time when All Mankind was in opposition, he wasn't able to lead, and his jumping went to pot, and he got beat for the first time this season. Cool Cody stays further than this. Stamina's a big asset to Cool Cody, and look, they're probably going to go forward, which is why I ended up being with Tamarot de Matan. As Keith said, he's a hard puller, but you're going to get a decent gallop with these two pacemakers in the field. And Son of Camas just isn't a very good jumper either, I don't think. So the race should just present itself to Tamarot de Matan, despite the step up in trip.
I was not looking forward to having to preview Son of Camas, because we've had just one evidential run, haven't we, over fences. That was at the Kempton Christmas meeting where the ground was probably against him. They took him to a jumper's bumper last time, and the money was down for him. This is a horse that they thought might be a Grade 1 material.
When isn't the money down for him, though?
He looks like a horse that's got maybe a breathing. He's not finishing out his races. If you watch back that jumper's bumper, which you've got time to do in your members section, he comes there cruising, and just falls out the back of the telly. He has got the ability to pick them up.
Definitely.
But it's a big if, isn't it?
2 wind
I mean,
surgeries.
You're not. Yeah, exactly. That gives you a big clue, doesn't it? I mean, we're going to talk about wind surgery later in the big race.
are.
We've got
Butcher
said.
Yeah.
He's a big one for it, but Son of
aye.
Camas is another one. Oh, is that Barry's tip? Is it?
He put him up in the Sky
The other
Bet,
day,
Barry.
yeah.
Have you gone for him again, Barry?
Yeah, I can't believe he traded at 7-4 in the Sky Bet. He's beaten 34 lengths that day, but he's one that will appreciate the better ground and having his win done, definitely.
I could hear him.
Well, we will get to him. But let me tell you, he's usually the most professional with his staking and his pinpointing. But that is once bitten, twice shy from Barry Orr there. Let me tell you. Look, we'll get to the Butcher's said. I think there's a little bit of something going on up there, but there is obviously wind issues, aren't there? Are we mad? Paul Keeley thinks he's going to run a big race today in the Saturday Sizzlers. Back to the Pendle. Let's get a market update then, Barry, with 4 minutes to go. Is he drifting out a little bit now?
Just ever so slightly, Dave. He's 1.89, so he's still around the 10 to 9 on mark. Gala 2.989, Cool Cody, bit of money from that from 12 and 30 Son of Camas. So favourite steady away, and the two against them are unchanged.
That money for Cool Cody, I'm not terribly surprised to see. I was saying to you before we went on air, Dave, how often would the Paddy Power winner go off double-figure odds for the Pendle?
Absolutely.
Obviously, they're not often novices, but the point sort of stands. His level of form is sort of 150-ish, if not quite. It's near as damn it. And he was Racing Post rating top rated for the Paddy Power on the basis of some late summer form. Now, that's rarely good enough to put you top rated.
It's very unusual, isn't it?
So I spoke to Steve Mason, the handicapper, afterwards, and he talked about how rock solid that form was, and I thought, okay, Steve, I usually write off anything in September when it comes to the proper racing. But with his performance there, he's obviously can do it.
Did he nick it?
Of course he nicked it. And the horses that chased him were all a bit soft. So
it's beginning.
So he was a little bit fortunate, but he has obviously got the form when the ground gets a bit lively, as it's getting now. So I just thought he is the one I would do. If I was doing forecasts, he's the one I'd be including.
I'd be a little bit worried about how indifferently Evan Williams' runners are performing at the minute. He had a winner at Southwell in the week, but another one dropped off the tally, and had a real big gamble at Ludlow that didn't come off as well. We will find out about that, though. Of course, Keith thinks he might be the one to fill the runner-up spot for your forecast players out there. But Trevor James joins the show, another viewer getting involved. Greetings, good people, from Trinidad and Tobago. Great to have you on, Trevor. West Indies, indeed. Have a great day, all. And to you, my friend. In an upside-down world, it's probably snowing over there. Marlon Allen, hi from Barbados. The island of the gods. Absolutely, the greatest island, apart from this one, of course. Tony Hay, Tamarack.
Can I connect you there?
Yeah, I had to connect. Do you know what? I would think about moving to Barbados.
Oh, absolutely. It's a better place.
Absolutely amazing place. And Stevie C says, Garlaw, we're going for that for me. He's a spring ground horse. Wait, I've ended up with him as well. On the basis that I thought he ran well behind All Mankind. He tried to go with him. You don't like his jumping so much, do you?
Well, I don't like his form, really. I think the form's a bit hooky. You can pick holes in it, no problem. His form on Good to Firm, he beat Mr. Merrick easily, who was well handicapped at the time, but he was running off 1-2-8.
He might be being a bit harsh. And the Fontwell form's worked out. Gateway to Europe and Getaway Trump, wouldn't it?
Yeah, again, it's my September bias again. Yeah. At that point of the season, you don't get good form, is my sort of rule of thumb. Hurricane Harvey's not a terribly good jumper that he beat in the Future Stars.
But it did win next time. I know it's probably an egg and spoon.
Well, it was Doncaster. It was a grade 2 at Doncaster, which really fell apart a little bit.
I remember now.
Yeah, and I don't think Hurricane Harvey jumps very well.
Grandson C was in that race as well. Had breathing issues.
Yeah,
as well,
so that gasped. Yeah. So we've got a race that fell apart.
You're seeing some holes.
Yeah, I think that 150 level of form that he's got to his name could have a question mark beside it. And he's what? A third of the price of Cool Cody. I think Cool Cody. He's won the Paddy Power Gold Cup.
But we are talking about horses coming down from Grade 1 level, aren't we? So look, I'm with him. He's got to give £3 to Tamarack Damasan and Son of Camas.
The time was quite good in that Henry VIII, to be fair. That was All Mankind recorded a really quick time, relatively.
It was second. Hitman was second, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The other thing that makes me slightly think about Tamarack Damathan is when the 5-day decks came out, Harry Cobden was jocked on Hitman in this race.
Oh, wasn't he?
He was, and I was thinking, what? And is this a third run for Tamarack Damathan? Perhaps we'll back that one to Barry. This has got Grand Annual all over it, Tamarack, hasn't it, Barry?
I'm not so sure. I think Paul was thinking more about entry for this horse potentially. He's a bit weak in the market now, it has to be said. Well, when I say weak, he's drifted out to 204, so he's odds against now. Cool Cody coming in for more support, 8.8 now, and 2.6 Gala. So they're betting the two against him, and he's just a little bit soft. 11 to 10.
They are off and running then. Let's go for it. And who's adopted the front running positions? Not Cool Cody.
He's been allowed to go at the front.
Garlaw has got a nice, easy way out front. Sana Camas wasn't too clever at it, and he's going to drop the anchor right out in the rear of Nico de Boinville for Nicky Henderson. Absolutely loves this course, leading course trainer. And Cool Cody on the inside. Again, had a little look at that, but they're trying different tactics with him today. So quite clearly, chaps, the connections thought we can't all go hard at it. Garlaw, he's got his own way.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised about that. I was surprised that Adam Wedge didn't at least put a little bit of pressure on Garlaw. I wouldn't say it was a disadvantage to Tamarack Damathan. He seems to have settled okay. Obviously, he's racing a bit headstrong, but seems to have settled okay.
Well, it's that Cool Cody's the one you'd see pulling, isn't he?
Yeah,
Tamarack Damathan is a little bit throwing his head about, but Cool Cody's, if he keeps doing this, Wedge will send him on.
Yeah, when he won at Wincanton, Tamarack Damathan, when he look, this is what I've been waiting to do, jump fences. He was this kind of exuberance, I think.
Yeah, he was, but he's against horses that were 2 grades below him. He was obviously a better horse than those.
I think he's settled all right. Let's go to Barry then. They're going into the home straight for the first time, Barry, over those famous 3 fences. We've seen who's adopted the positions. Now what's the market saying?
Yeah, 2-2-4 now. Tamarack du Matin. He's out to a 5-4 chance in running. Law currently trading at, just give me 1 second, computer's just gone down there, but 2.24 Law is favourite now in running, 8.6 Cool Cody, and 2.3 the favourite Tamarack du Matin.
Okay, we could be in for something special finish-wise here, I think, because
what can often happen at Kempton is down that back straight, they have no qualms about kicking a little bit because they've not got a hill at the end.
And they are dawdling now, aren't they? They've got their positions. Although, no one wants to be a hero.
There is a bit of that, but everybody seems to maybe settled now, so they might all be happy enough to play games down the back.
Semblance of an error there from Garlaw. Tamarack's absolutely winging them as you expect one from Nichols. He's slightly on the outside. Cool Cody then. Tom on the inside. Is this going to cost him, this exuberance he's showing?
I'm just not really too sure why these tactics have been taken up. I mean, surely Adam Wedge should have tried to race Cool Cody like Cool Cody wants to race. He likes going from the front, and he's at his best from the front, especially over trips further than this. And it doesn't seem to be helping him so far.
I'd be waiting until see what Wedge does down the back before I start decrying this as a tactical blunder.
Well,
it might be part of the plan.
Again, pre-race, you might be looking at this and thinking we don't want to leave it behind in this race if he's trying to get himself back on track, maybe for a handicap at Cheltenham. Over they go then, on the far side. Son of Camas, you might have called this TC. Doesn't look like he can jump at the minute, does it? TC right in the first race, and so far.
Can't breathe, can't jump, what can you do?
But GA Law, or Garlaw, God, this is one of the most annoying names, isn't it? He is enjoying himself out in front, and we know he stays. But Cobden, Keith Melrose, riding as if the finish isn't going to be a problem for this chap.
No, he's settled a lot. If you told me they were going to go this steady, I'd be wondering, Cobden's arms would end up the size of my thighs by the end. But it's not going to work out like that. It doesn't look like. He has settled quite nicely.
He's settled very well.
You'd imagine he's the speediest horse of these.
Yeah, definitely.
So could we see the Shishkin form advertised pre-Arkle as they go onto the far side? First
one down about maybe 7. I can't remember. This is where they might start racing, so we'll see.
Tamarack is absolutely winging them, and Garlaw got in a little close there.
Yeah, Cobden's almost. He doesn't want to get to the front.
He definitely doesn't want to get to the front too soon. If you remember turning in on the 27th at Kempton, he briefly looked like he might...
Wedge is in front.
Yeah.
He's
just a head
now
in front.
Adam Wedge is going for it. So this is what you want if you're on Tamarack de Mathan. The front two, they are both conceding £3, and now they're duelling. Little reach for that Tamarack de Mathan. Son of Camas is still in there.
They're racing
and fighting.
They're now racing. So we'll see if they got you.
This is 5 out, isn't it? And again, GA Law, Garlaw, not so great there. Cool Cody.
Wedge is going for it. He's committed. Wedge is pot committed, I think.
Now we're turning in. So that was 4 out. We're on the inside camera at Kempton at the moment. This is the famous home straight at Kempton then. And they're kicking up a bit of the turf, but it's pretty lively underfoot.
Garlaw's off the bright. He's first
he
to
looks
crack
like
with
he's
looks
cracking,
of things.
but what's he got left? Is that Greenest? Tamarack de Mathan. He's on the outside. Cool Cody not gone for it yet. The big 3. Son of Camas drops right out then, as predicted by TC.
Camas has been struggling.
3 out. Here we go. Who's going to come up in front? Cool Cody. That's the experience he's got there. Tamarack de Mathan now gets the
swinging away. Look at him.
If you are on the bridle with Tamarack de Mathan, if you
does
took
Cobden see a stride? Does he see a stride?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he does.
He wings it. Garlaw not so great. Cool Cody paying for that.
Jump it to win.
This looks like it's going to be a 12th Pendle for Paul Nichols coming to last. Garlaw's trying to raise another battle, but jumping's cost him. There's an awful exuberant leap. He's away and he's gone. Garlaw won another brave race in defeat. Just got to get that jumping together, and they got a real horse. Cool Cody, they restrained him. He was too keen. Tamarack de Mathan, odds on in the Pendle. 12 races go to the Nichols yard. Barry Orr, what was the story of the race?
Yeah, Garlaw traded at a low of 2.2. Surprisingly enough, wow. Cool Cody traded at a low of 2.5. Would you believe the winner? Your winner, Tamarack du Matin, traded at a high of 2.96 in running.
Okay.
Cool Cody's going to Cheltenham now, isn't he?
Yeah.
That looked like a horse that maybe wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
Again,
midwinter break.
They'll be a bit more aggressive with him, I think, won't they?
Wedge has gone in. Yeah, exactly. As soon as he's beat, because I think Wedge has gone right. Let's have a race then.
Yeah.
And then when he's blown up, he's just let him come home on his own time.
I love these debriefs of the story of the market afterwards. It's so fascinating to hear what Barry says. Because at what point would you go that low on some of these horses? It's crazy. And high as well.
These in-running markets, that people are drawn to front runners, all horses that make big race moves. And as we've seen there, Garlaw was given an easy time of things early on, so went into favouritism. And then
I'll tell you the moment Cool Cody went 2.5 actually, because we're watching them on the turn in. It'll be as a camera, just before the camera pings round to front of jumping the out, because he's got 2 lengths on the winner there, and Gallo, G.A.Law, who I'm never going to mention again, is
I'll wait to see the back of him.
Yeah, well, don't want to talk about that horse ever again. So it was just at that point before the camera pans round. That's the point where Cool Cody had 2 lengths on the winner, and he had the other one under pressure. That's when he's gone 6-4.
I think they have still got a nice horse. So Jamie Snowden's 5-year-old. You know, it's tough these 5.
By the way, this is a good horse as winner.
very good.
12 from 16. So I think Barry, they will go there. I think that is.
Do you think they will? Because Nichols,
he's been entered up for a while. This horse, and the ground's gone, isn't it?
He tends to run Aintree horses here, Nichols. He's won it 1,000,000 times, so we've got a big.
That's what Barry mentioned, so he might be right.
And the thing with the Grand Annual is it's a bit of a fool's errand, and I think Nichols knows that.
It's a race he absolutely adores, though, isn't it? You know,
he does love it, but the Cheltenham Handicap.
Brianna team was his runner last year, you know.
He knows, and it's where Nichols is so good at these things. He knows going for something like the Maggle, or I forget what the 2.5 mile equivalent of the Maggle's called. But that's an easier race to win than the Grand Annual.
Isn't it?
No, it's the handicap.
Oh yeah, of course it is. Sorry, yeah.
The Manifesto.
Surname won this, didn't he? In the same colours.
Yeah,
he did. But the Manifesto's the 3 mile one, isn't it? Is it Manifesto or is it 2.5?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the other one. But anyway, it's a 2.5 mile novice chase at Aintree will be easier to win than the Grand Annual.
We will find out.
There's a stack of entries in the Grand Annual as well, really.
Yeah.
I think he's the likes of Magic Saint and
that one. Yeah.
I mean, this horse is rated 147, and he has that as well. He's well handicapped off that, no question.
What will the handicapper do then with this? Where should he run Tamarack de Mathan? We've got James Byrne on course at Kempton today. We will be getting quotes from him very shortly. David Carr is up for us at Newcastle today before we go to Lingfield for the Eva Stakes coming up. And I've had a quote coming in. Brian Hughes, who won the first on a Nicky Richards, Trevor Hemmings horse called Wetlands. First 5 goes in. The ground is sticky and tacky. Not ideal for any horse, says Brian Hughes after the first. But when we go to the Eider, you want something that's going to stay 10 miles. Salty Boy. The selection for many.
It's not what you particularly want to hear. So one of the things for Salty Boy coming in further, as well as being tipped up by Keelan Siegel, was that his best form in Ireland was on slightly better ground, and you know the fact it was coming towards the good to soft end was seen as a good point for him.
He took a scalp in a novice hurdle, didn't he? I can't remember.
His
notebook.
Yeah.
His novice hurdle form is such that if Bridgie improves him like he improved the conditional, this horse is just going to be miles ahead of that mark, and he's a good horse actually.
He won it with Wickhill as well, didn't he, a couple of years back?
That was
okay, let's get to Lingfield. Let's go surfing because it's time for the Heaver Sprint. Won by some really good horses over the last couple of years. Of course, you associate indeed one that's running here, of course, with it, and that would be Royal Birth, and that's who I have gone for at a price. Barry Orr, where's your target landing?
Yeah, Muskill, you know, he's a horse I do like, and I think he's going to take a hell of a lot of whacking here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a couple in the place market. Now, it's only 2 places, obviously. There's just the 7 runners. First one I'm going to lay is Rocket Action, just going to take a chance with him. This is quite a specialist track, 5 furlongs around here. It's his first visit. Now, he has won in Wolverhampton and that, but just at the price 202, I'm going to take 40 quid out of him at 202. And the second one I'm going to lay in the place market is Ornate. And in the place market, he's about 5.6. So I'm just going to take around 20 quid out of him at 5.6 to lose about 92 quid. So just Dutch laying those 2 in the place market, 2 places. I think Muskill is the most likely winner in the race. I thought Royal Birth could run well too for Richard Kingscott. Now,
Barry, I'll probably only watch about a third of Ornate's races, to be honest. But if I was going to place Liam, I'd want to do it in running.
Yeah, definitely. In running, he's in his 4 of his last 5 runs. He's traded at 254, 202, 3, and 2.02 again.
Because he's fast as hell.
I had considered that, all right, Keith, but just it's difficult. Like you could request a price, but I just wanted to have a bet pre-race just to show everyone how it works.
No, absolutely, Barry. It's one of these, because when if I do sort of in-play stuff on the exchanges, it's the sort of horse I'd be looking at and going, yeah, it's the sort of horse I might in-running lay this.
The beauty of the exchange, and Barry showcasing it lovely there. Okay, so I've said Royal Birth. Barry likes that as well. He's run 4 times in this race, you know. He's won it and finished second twice. He is Mr. Lingfield.
Yep.
That's what slightly worries me about the two horses that my esteemed panellists were about to put up. Tom Collins. One's already in, Tamarack. You think this will be another shorty?
Yeah, it should be another favourite. Mosgill's just by far the best horse in the race. And this race often, 5 furlong races at Lingfield, often develop very early on and they go hammer and tongs. And with the likes of Lord Ridderford and Ornate in this field, they're going to go blistering from the start. They're drawn 1 and 2 as well, so they're literally going to go and gun for the lead. And
Is there a quicker horse from the gates in training than Ornate?
I'd be surprised if he crosses Lord Ridderford and leads.
He's bullet like.
I would be surprised if he crosses Lord Ridderford. Genuinely, I think it's going to be on the outside. He might lead him, but on the outside of him, I reckon.
I think he will.
We'll see.
He usually leads in Stewards and Wokinghams. And
He leads in the dash. Didn't you go 3 lengths clear in the dash?
Which is the fastest sprint out there, of course, at Epsom on Derby weekend. Okay, so Mosgill, he has one on Sir Peter. 2-2-1 his figures on the all-weather, but not here, Keith Melrose, and that makes you have a little question mark.
It does. Another thing with Mosgill, I remember looking at him ahead of last year's Nunthorpe, sized up that race he'd won in advance of it, and he's quite a tall horse, and quite a tall horse running at Lingfield. That is a question mark for me. You know, I need to have a reason. Just saying, it's never run at Lingfield isn't enough.
Just explain that, Keith. It's the downhill.
Lingfield is a downhill. It's a little bit like Epsom in a sense, and it's a downhill into the turn. And you see at Cheltenham sometimes for people that more watch jumps, you can see tall horses flounder a little bit. They can't get their legs in the right place, and I think the downhill run is what can sometimes do it. Now, Mosgill is, as I say, a bit of a taller horse. He's not one of those squat little sprinters. So I just wonder about that at Lingfield. I've got reason to think it might not be his track. So for that reason, I went fairly straight with Rocket Action. You know, both the Cowell horses in the race, you've got to take fitness on trust. You're looking at the jockey bookings and assuming that this is the fitter, given Holly Doyle's on board. But yeah, just with Mosgill, he's not. I look at him just physically and don't think that's a Lingfield horse. That's it for me. That's the only thing against him.
Interesting. We're watching him go down first time out of school. Though some big targets ahead for him. Not for Keith Melrose. Yes, for Tom Collins. Let's get some more viewer interaction going on. Chris Timms joined the show. Lovely, Chris. Very timely as well. Lord Ridderford to get out in front. He's with TC from stall 1 and hopefully stay there. Was it Wolverhampton he won last time?
Yeah, I was with him that day. I thought he had a great chance because before then, when he faced Tone the Barone, he unseated his rider in the stalls.
Because Tone the Barone had a great... Was he unbeaten on the all-weather?
Yeah, and then Lord Ridderford beat him last time. And then,
it was a bit keen last time, Tone the Barone, wasn't he? But Lord Ridderford is straightforward, John Quinn specialist, get out, get the job done.
Yeah, he's a gun from the start kind of horse.
Gun from the start, here he goes.
An American phrase.
Here he goes.
They'll gun him from the start, they'll hope to get the rail, go the shortest way round and hold this field off. But with Ornate in there, he's going to be challenged. Like he's not going to be
only missing a yeehaw. That's all it was. The rest
I'm not about that life. Don't worry about that.
Surely the Americans don't say yeehaw.
No, just chappers.
Just chappers. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the beauty of this, we tend to think we know where we might go from. Stall 7, Ollie Doyle. What will you be hoping for? You don't. I mean, I know it's only 7 runners, but don't want to be caught on the flank.
Not particularly. You'd probably want to swing out, don't you? Because you're going to find horses coming back to you in the straight in this race, I would have thought. So I don't think you wouldn't want to be drawn 1 with Lord Ridderford and Ornate just outside you either.
Yeah.
So, you know, Holly's clever enough. She'll get it in the right place as long as he can take her there and, you know, hope to get round the early leaders.
I love Lingfield, the turf and the poly track, but I have to say it's my most frustrating all-weather track. You know what I'm going to say here, TC, don't you?
You're going to say because when they stick to the inside and the straight.
It is one of the cardinal sins of all-weather racing, at Lingfield in particular.
Yeah.
And people that watch this show regularly will be going, here we go make a cup of tea while he talks about this. But there is a camber at Lingfield, like there is at Epsom, okay, like there is on the turf track as well. And it's deeper on the inside. And when you walk it, you can really see the difference. Horses that get beat on the inside, you can sort of say, well, okay, there's another David. Horses that win on the inside, I always mark them up. I've had a couple of short-head victories and defeats, which has gone the other way. And if ever one of my jockeys, I call them my jockeys, who I've backed, and goes to the inside, it's fair to say I need to go get a bit of fresh air.
Well, wasn't there a spell where that didn't apply as well? They were so conscious of it.
It has happened at a lot of other all-weather tracks.
Happens on the turf as well, actually. Beverly used to
And
do
on
it.
the, and on the turf it can happen, but it's here. This is the cardinal sin. Wolverhampton's not great, is it?
No, not
Southwell,
at all.
it's definitely not great.
Well, Southwell's the worst, I'd say.
Well, I don't think
the
it
UK
is.
ones, if you stick that far rail in the straight, you might as well rip up the ticket.
Maybe. I think that everyone knows that now, though. So it's like it's almost a bit like,
But also,
what are they doing?
they roll of Southwell between every race, and they're aware of the bias, and they try and roll it out.
That's what they do. And they can come off. It's a more bendy sort of track, isn't it?
Like biases over here, they're prevalent. Like we look at these tracks and think the yellow's we don't want to be in the inside-outside bias. You go to America and they are ridiculous. Like Aqueduct, the last week and a half, it's been freezing conditions there. The inside is like a golden highway. Anywhere off the rail, no chance. So
it can be like that at Kempton.
It can be.
When they re-wax it, the inside's always a bit quicker.
It's nowhere near, like you get winners. You get winners going against the bias over here. In America, it's different. So like I think the biases can be overhyped and people can actively look against them in the UK.
Isn't it wonderful how Lingfield on the turf track is the old golden highway, isn't it, against the rail?
Yeah.
And again, it's not the place you want to be on the all-weather track. So Q Royal Berth, 2 furlongs out, darting for the inside now. Okay, so that's my selection. Barry, remind us who you're with.
I've laid 2 in the race. I've laid both Ornate and Rocket Action. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, the
place market.
This is going to be fast and furious stuff. Somebody will be trying to book its ticket for all-weather finals day. Delighted to say we're going to have that last year. I was gutted that wasn't on last year, you know. That was one casualty, wasn't it, of the pandemic?
One of many.
Forgotten about a little bit. And the card up at Newcastle on the same day.
It's a good card, that Newcastle
really
card,
valuable card.
Bath's got one.
Kentucky Derby trial. Bath as well. That's
I never thought I would hear you say
it's valuable
Bath.
there.
It's a good early season 3-year-old middle distance handicap. You always get interesting horses in there.
I'll tell you what, he's a man for all seasons, like we all are. Not just handicap chases in the repertoire of Keith Melrose, of course. And as the last one goes in, it is good old Royal Berth. I'm hoping to call him home. Good luck wherever you're playing the 205 at Lingfield. It is the Heaver Stakes. Let's see how they break. Royal Berth reared it.
Ornate's stall opened early.
All of a sudden they're punting out controversy. But as called, Ornate, you can't lead Ornate. It's just impossible.
Well, he got a half-second start.
There'll be a Stewart's there, definitely.
Lord Ridderford takes the adoption in second. Bellon Glaze, the big outsider.
If you're on the favourite here, you're in a great position.
I'd say Moskill is very happy where he is. Blue de Vega, the second Robert Cowhorse, he's out the back. Rocket Action, Holly Doyle taking a bit of a cold, going to need to find a passage. And poor old Royal Berth after that start. Although he's going to come down the right part of the track, he's a million now, I would imagine. So, turning in. Let's have a look. I'll tell you what, Lord Ridderford might have this, you know. Here's Moskill, just have a little think about it. The camber, Rocket Action, has he left it too late? Ornate's gone, has he? This is inside the final furlong. Now Lord Ridderford gets the turbo. Moskill, is he going to get there too late?
Go on,
the slowest final furlong in all-weather racing. Moskill and Lord Ridderford.
No.
The Greys got it. Lord Ridderford then sees off Moskill. Just took a little bit of time to get fully organised in the home straight. I'm going to say that Keith Melrose, 2 races in, has called it absolutely right. He didn't act around there.
Would I go that far? I mean, he's obviously not. He's not run his race properly.
That is the best horse in the race by a mile.
Yes,
Moskill.
yeah, he could. Okay, I was right.
He was right. Like he was about
look at his head. I didn't
jumping.
see his head. He's cocked his jaw turning in there. I didn't see that.
That's what I mean. It's the camber. You can't really see it for the camera that they use to cover it on Sky or ITV or wherever you're watching it. But trust me,
look, he's getting too low. He's taken. You're right. It's not a link. He'd have won that race at Wolverhampton, let alone.
He absolutely would have done. And again, he's got an all-weather specialist, Tom, that tries his heart out, and he's taken his form to the next level.
Yeah, I think the tracking Ornate in there actually benefited Lord Ridderford, because usually you see him go from the front, and he's a horse that can be picked up in the straight. He's not the quickest. He hasn't got the quickest turn of foot. But as we've seen there, like his cruising speed is so high that he's maybe benefited from getting that slipstream behind Ornate, who's still definitely broke early. There's got to be a Stewards into that.
Well, look, we haven't got the luxury of watching that back here in the studio. Did it open early? Let us know. Now, Barry, that was a 5 furlong sprint. I wasn't going to come to you turning in, because we would have been past the post. But what was the debrief for that? And that must have been seen a bit of spiking all over the place, I'd imagine.
Yeah, Royal Berth out of traps hit a high of 80 once that unfortunate incident came to pass. He had a Betfair SP of 20, so that gives you an indication of his chances from flag fall. The runner-up hit a low of 1.79, 4 to 5, and Ornate hit a low of 3.5 as well in running. Not for what he tends to do, ornate in running as well, trade short, just like Keith pointed out before. We won 60 quid for the charity, thankfully.
Lovely.
Well done, Barry.
Well, I would like to see a replay of the start again, because TC and I both immediately saw that Ornate either anticipated the start or he broke through his stall.
My eyes were on raw birth, I've got to say. But there have been a couple of some weird starts on the all-weather recently, haven't there? Let's not go there about when they... I don't know, the jockeys weren't ready in a maiden the other night. Well, that was scandalous, wasn't it?
Ornate's like too quick for his own good. He
He has run a blind at Ornate. He's an 8-year-old. He was seen it was Southwell the other night.
3 days ago.
3 days ago. It's just imagine owning Ornate. It'd be great fun, wouldn't it? So next time you get a chance to go to Lingfield, go and have a stroll out on the home straight. You'll see what we're on about. Really interesting camber there.
That's it. You want to visit these tracks for that reason. You'll watch Lingfield race 100 times a year on that Polly track.
I'll tell you what, here's a good question, and let's hear from the viewers about this as well. Now that the end of the roadmap is in sight, albeit June the 21st, please, Lord, what is the first race meeting that you want to go to? So I'm going to get straight out there. We've spoken about this. Easy drive for you, easier drive for me. Windsor on a Monday night. Cannot wait.
Yep. I do love a bit of Windsor on a Monday night, to be fair. Good crowd there as well.
Decimated last year, wasn't it? It's one of the great meetings on a Monday night. Have you ever been to a Monday night?
Windsor? No, I've never been to Windsor.
Have you not?
No.
Get the boat ride across.
I've heard all about it, but I live in Yorkshire.
True. Very true.
We'll get you there. Well, there you go. We'll get you there one night this week. That would be good.
like to get...
There are no fences. There used to be fences.
Yeah,
Barracuda once.
The long walk, you wouldn't remember the long walk being there.
I was there that day. I was there that day. It was absolutely nipply. Tamarack misses Cheltenham, we're hearing, thanks to Rob Lee in the gallery. Paul Nichols has just said that Tamarack misses the Grand Annual.
That's what Nichols tends to do with his horses that win the Pendle. And as I say, it's not like we're dealing with a small sample here. He's won a million.
Are we looking
Pendles.
at another surname?
I was going to say, they're going to run him in the same races as surname. Same owner, same trainer. Jumps as well.
Johnny Delahaye.
So, yeah.
Different running style.
Solo, of course, who won the Adonis, which we're about to go to.
And the thing is, he's never run left-handed over fences yet, Tamarack to Matin. His surname, he was plainly a nutter back then.
What does that mean for Shishkin as well? We won't go down the panel now, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. What does that mean for Shishkin? It's form franking, isn't it?
Well, was it on what a shout yesterday I said it, or another one? I said that we... I think that might go down in history, that when he smacked Tamarack de Matin all over Kempton.
As one of the greatest.
The first sign we were dealing with something very special.
I won't bore you with it, but I did the Cheltenham preview analysis for the Arkle and the 2 mile chases. And I nearly said that Energamene's Irish Arkle was the key form race. But I ended up on the Wayward Lad. So
I think Energamene's been slightly overhyped, you know. I just feel recency bias towards him over Shishkin. I think he's good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's in the same league.
Hot up in here, TC, isn't it? Wow.
You could have the forecast.
No good, according to Tom Collins.
You could have the forecast in the Championship running in the Arkle.
Yeah.
They could both be 170 horses, couldn't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. So look, let us know what you think that means for Shishkin. Are you Energamene's fans out there, unlike some? Keith Melrose, when it's all over, what's the first racetrack?
Do you know what? I'm going to be really honest with you. I am not I'm not the most avid race scorer you've ever seen. No,
you're not unknown to the press rooms.
No, I spent years on the tracks when I started with the Post and loved a lot of tracks up there. I tell you the one, people ask me for a little track to go to, and I always say Market Raisin. It's a lovely little track.
Market Raspberry.
Yeah, but it's a bit of summer jumping at Market Raisin.
It's joined us many a time here now on Racing.
You go on. It's usually the Saturday of the Open Championship.
Yeah.
They have the summer plate.
Yeah.
It's like Royal Ascot in Lincolnshire.
What a surprise that the man that's into handicap chases goes to summer plate day. Barry Orr, when it's all said and done, where are you going to head?
I look forward to going to Chester and having a few drinks in the centre of the racecourse there and just enjoying the buzz in the place and walking through the town and having a few drinks on the walk back to the hotel. It's just so civilised. It's brilliant from social point of view. And there's good racing there, the main meeting in Chester as well, if the weather's fine, of course. And I'm looking forward to the Guineas meeting. Hopefully we'll get to that. We're sponsoring a lot of the races, all the races actually at the Guineas meeting, bar the 2 feature races. So that's always great because the dream's alive for the flat racing at that stage of the season. Yeah, the Lincoln is a month away today. Dubai World Cup meeting as well. We'll be covering everything here on Racing Post Live. So you've heard it. It's been recorded. Once he's allowed out again, we'll get the old Betfair company card. He's going to take us up to the
Chester.
Right?
Lovely.
Chester.
We give that a good gallop.
It's got some credit on it, isn't it? After the last year. Let us know where you want to go racing when this is over. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, fantastic scenes. We've got to go to the Adonis. And with the shorties starting to go in, I think the Great White Hope, as I've been calling him, I'm on for the Triumph. are you? It's Tritonic, Alan King. But Barry Orr, he's taking a different view.
Yeah, I just have to lay him at the price. I mean, he's currently 1.93. He has been 5-4 against on the exchange. 8.6 Casalupe, who he just touched off in Ascot. Honor Dionk is a 10. Pasadoble, 12.5. 14.5. John Locke. And even Margaret's Legacy has a chance at 12. But I just thought this has got a bit of strength and depth with this race. He had the whole length of the straight. It took him to go by Casalupe in Ascot that day. He traded at a high of 26. Casalupe traded at a low of 20-1 on. Hunter Junk traded at a low of, he was 1.15, so nearly 6-1 on the day he fell at the last at Kempton. And that race is actually working out okay. There's no doubt he was going to win that race in Kempton. The second has won since, and the fourth has won twice since. So the race is not working out bad. Obviously, Chester Williams can't claim his 5, which is a bit of a negative there. And Pasadoble was a highly rated horse here when he was trained by Jim Bulger, so he's not without a chance either. Positive reports from Ditch Heat about him, and this is a race that Paul Nichols has won before with a first timer. But just going to take £100 at the backer stake out of Tritonic. Going to look at about 1.93, so not going to be a price taker here. Going to be a price maker. So £100 to lose 193. That'll go into the lay section, and hopefully someone will come in and back that with us. I anticipate strongly that they would. Rated 99 on the flat. Lads, you might know better than me, but is there a higher rated flat horse to go Novice Hurling in England this season?
Ooh, that's a shout. I can certainly tell you it's the highest rated flat horse that Alan King has ever taken. That's what he told us yesterday, wasn't it?
Well, that's what he said, yeah. He might have, I'm not...
Primitivo would have been, but he got sold for billions, didn't he, to Hong Kong or whatever.
Normally the best flat horse that goes jumping of a season is about 100 rated, so that would...
Yeah, we want to see them. So that's it. You've seen a juicy lay for Barry. Okay, we're playing for charity today. Don't forget, safe gambling all the way. But if you want to get involved, maybe Tritonic is a little bit too short. When he won at Ascot, we were chatting about this yesterday when we did a bit of work together, and I said they don't come back up the running once they lead this season in particular at Ascot. Of course, it was Gary Moore's horse who reopposes. The second favourite now, Casalupe, who looked like he had him cold. Now, Tritonic was a 1-4 horse on the flat, wasn't he? Very good one.
Yes, very good horse.
And it was a decent 2-year-old, basically. They tried to make him into a semi-group horse, didn't they? Go for some of those expensive handicaps last year on the flat. I love the way he picked him up. This is a horse. Again, Alan King's horses, they're ridden a certain way, aren't they? We know this.
Yeah.
Shall we embellish slightly on this?
Well, yes, there are people that have run stats on these things, and he's one of the 3 yards whose horses are most often held up, along with David Simcock and James Fanshawe.
On the flat, yeah.
On the flat, but it applies over jumps too. It happens too often for it to be coincidence. It seems to be a theory. Up the inside, held up, is the way King's horses are ridden.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with Tritonic is he the fastest horse in this race? I mean, he's the best flat horse.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult one to judge on.
That's the worry if you're taking the odds about Tritonic. And I think it was 2-1 earlier in the week when the markets went up on the Tuesday, as they do nowadays. And he has been smashed. That's got to be the worry for him, isn't it? That this might be if something goes off the home turn on this ground. Sayonara.
I mean, I don't think this is a bad race at all either. Like, Tritonic's a very good horse. We've already covered that.
You against him?
At the prices, I am. Yeah, I think he's a good horse, Tritonic. I think he's well capable of featuring in the Triumph next month and obviously winning this. But at the prices, I feel there are much better betting opportunities in the race, like Pasadoble, Margaret's Legacy. Honor de Jonk was impressive before falling last time. And I'm with John Locke, who for Dan Skelton, whose team are literally flying at the moment.
I was a bit disappointed with him on the flat. I thought it was going to be better than he turned out. Was he Colour Dubdullah?
Yes, he was Colour Dubdullah. Judd Martin, he got sold for 75,000. I was a bit disappointed with him too. But I feel like he needed a bit
of seconditis about him, wasn't there?
Yeah, early in his career. I feel like he's a late developer. He needed a bit of a trip. You can mark off that last run on the flat when he was beating a red car. He was sent off favourite for a handicap that day.
I remember it.
Hated the ground. Absolutely hated the soft ground. Back on quicker ground, joined the Skelton team, who are very good with every horse they have, but with juvenile hurdlers. I just feel like he's got the speed to win this race first time up. And at the prices, I think he's only 9s now, but he was 14-1. He rated a good each way bet. On the flat, he was only beaten 3.5 lengths by Ocean Wind, who I really fancied for a couple of good races like Cesarewitch last year, but he didn't get entered in the race. He didn't qualify, actually. He was entered but didn't qualify. So I think John Locke's a good each way play in a race where you can make a case for so many.
as Barry just mentioned, Zarkanda. Was it first time out you won this? It was, wasn't it? And he went on to win the Triumph.
Yes, he was.
In those colours, and John Locke's colours.
And Solo, of course, he really, that was a remarkable performance last year. It turned out to be a bit of a red herring, that, didn't it, unfortunately? He fell in a hole in a Triumph. It can happen. But this is a race you associate with Kingy. He's won it 4 times and with some very good horses, He
did say, didn't he, to us yesterday, this is about getting another bit of experience into Tritonic before the Triumph.
He considered running him first time out in this, didn't he?
He did, and he's, Tritonic is probably going to be more of a Cheltenham horse as a jumper because he'll have that finishing.
I just
spurt.
love this horse, Tritonic.
Tritonic, yeah. I mean, he could easily win the race. I mean, we've watched a couple of races at Kempton now. It's been the fastest horse that's won, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And he is, in a sense, the fastest horse, but he also has he got real speed and toe. He probably does.
He showed it at Ascot when he looked beat coming to the last, and for a horse that stays, Kingy has these horses, doesn't he? Because a lot of his horses on the yard, on the flat, want a trip as a 3-year-old. They tend to come to these juvenile races. I don't think there are any 2 mile 4 races for juveniles until they're going to handicap company.
Until Marchish.
It's all minimum trip. And over the years, I've lost count of the times I've had to put horses in my tracker going, it's just not got the pace. It might win first time out, and then it goes up against better opposition in the finale or something like that. I don't know. And I just like, as soon as it goes up in trip, more often than not, I reckon the stats are 2 that they pay off. So that would be your worry about Tritonic here. Whereas, after we won at Ascot, I thought this might be the Triumph winner. Zanahiyr, I respect a lot, but he looks a little bit vulnerable to me. I was hoping the division might have hotted up a bit more by now, I have to say.
There's not an awful lot in there, is there?
Doesn't he? Especially after the first race in Fairy House today, Teopo. That's one, Colixios and Zanahiyr. Like, I think he's 3 of the first 4 in the betting.
Yeah.
Although,
go on, Barry.
Here's a decent bet for you, lads. Colixios, non-runner, no bet, 5-1 for the Boodles. If they go there with him, he'll be a 6-4 chance on the day.
Do you not know by now, Barry? I mean, you are close to Gordon Elliott, aren't you? So
no, I wouldn't know. No, I'm just saying, like, he's going to have to split his aces, isn't he? And he's got Teopo there now, but I think the guy who owns Teopo, Brian Atchison, would very much probably want to go for a Triumph Furrow, where I think Cheveley Park might be a little more flexible if Gordon's telling them, listen, Zanahiyr is Colixios probably wouldn't be able to live with him over 2 miles, but if you go to the Boodles with him, your most likely chance of a winner is there. I'm just for my money, I don't know anything. I'm just saying, I just thought non-runner, no bet in the Boodles. Colixios, a 5-1 looked a knockout bet to me.
When the handicap injuries came out, there were lots of nibbles for him, which is a telling sign. Let's have a reminder. So it's Tritonic for me, but I'm happy to just sort of watch him win this. I must admit, for the Triumph, hopefully. TC?
It's John Locke each way. I think Tritonic's the most likely winner, but at the prices, I'll go for John Locke.
And Keith Melrose?
I've put up the French horse each way, Margaret's Legacy. Now, the form, we've not got time to go through it all, but the form all does tie in really well. And it's not just about the collateral form lines. Basically, last time, beat a horse that's since won a listed race from the horse he smashed by 15 lengths on his debut. I think the French handicapper has it at 140-ish. I don't think it's that good. I think it's probably more like 130-ish. But what is, from the replays, what you get is that Margaret's Legacy is actually a very fast horse. That ground at Cannes hasn't been actually as slow as it suggests. They've been saying very soft and heavy. That's French, very soft and heavy. It's been not as bad as that suggests. Been going off and showing a lot of pace. The horse that won the listed race, Le Petit Nice, is more of a stayer. It was bad ground when he won his listed race. But on fast ground, Margaret's Legacy just left him like he was standing still. Very fast horse, and Kempton very much more the track for him than the Triumph. So I think each way a nine-runner race like this is a good bet.
Aggressive tactics?
There he is. You can see he's lining up to go off in front. That's exactly what I thought would happen, and you hope he just gets out in front and, hopefully 3 don't get past him.
You know they're going to stay on more often than not, don't you? I'm surprised you haven't gone for this, actually, because it's a French horse. You could probably pronounce this, isn't it, TC?
Yeah. Margaret's Legacy.
That's it, absolutely.
Well,
that sounds like a fancy cocktail waiting to happen.
On France Gallo's site, Ned Curtis gets his Sunday name, Nathaniel.
Well, Ned Curtis, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but Ned Curtis is an interesting jockey book in because he hasn't had a ride for 64 days, you know what I mean? He's
been riding his horse in France.
Yeah.
He's been riding his horse over in
That's where he's been, is it? Yeah. Okay, that's gone over mine. Radar. So, all right, we are about to be off for the Adonis. We've seen some worldies. Will we see a really special performance here from Tritonic, or will we see one of the others spoil the party? Interesting that the market certainly does seem to think that Gary Moore's horse, a repeat of that Ascot run, the Sharper Chuck at Cheltenham, could be the one. On our De Jonc, I think we can call him that. He's for Chester.
Margaret Legacy into 7 now from 15.
Okay.
Like, obviously, the way they're lining up, they're
Part of that,
anticipating him going off in
part of that is it. But I mean, having him price, that's not just down to going off in front.
Okay, they are off and running in the 2021 Adonis, and Margaret's Legacy does indeed adopt its front-running position. But Casalupi, as he did at Ascot last time, Gary Moore's horse, from the Goshen yard, of course, is giving him something to think about. Splitting the pair in the middle, Soldier on Parade. Amy Murphy and Jack Quinlan won a couple early in the season. He's putting for his head at the moment. As is Tritonic on the inside. He is a little bit more prominent than you might expect. They're alive to it, Team King, I think. They know what it takes to win these Adonises.
This is looking like a bit of an eyeball in each other.
They are taking each other on a little bit. What's that out the back? Mr. Sister, basically, the complete rag is already tailed off. Marta de Mott's out the back for Ben Post and Tom Simmons. That could be an interesting one for handicap. Look at the Paso Doble out the back for
Made
Paul
a couple
Nichols.
of novice mistakes early. Paso
Has
Doble.
it? And John Locke, TC, happy with his sit upside Tritonic.
Yeah, novice mistake at the first again for him. Obviously his first encounter of a hurdle in public, but the second hurdle he produced a much better leap. Also, if you're on a de Jonc, you need to be watching his jumping because it's a bit skew-if.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So we are on the far side, and we've already got a bit of a repertoire about where they are. And the Margaret's Legacy now gets her own way out front. Okay, Barry, let's go to you with around about 5 to jump.
Slick one. Something's
Yeah,
worn that. Paso Doble wore that.
Yeah.
182 to 178 now. Tritonic 9, Casalupe 7.2 Margaret's, and it's twin bar.
I guess if you're on Tritonic, you're happy that they're having to go at each other up front, really. Casalupi cannot lead because Margaret's Legacy, I called his she a minute ago, one of those names, isn't it, that you often cross wrong. But he's certainly turning on the taps a little bit.
Wastes no time in the air either, Margaret's Legacy, so that's just
that
helping him
experience
stay.
Coming to the fore.
Well, he's probably been jumping hurdles since he was a foal. So he's
straight out, get him up,
exactly.
give him a school at Keir McCare's,
old enough to stand up, old enough to jump a hurdle.
Absolutely, yeah, okay. So now, what's this on the outside coming up? Paso Doble still
Marta
looking
de
out the
Mott.
back. Is that Marta de Mott?
Yeah, Marta de Mott's having a little go, having a little look on the outside, but
yes.
whether Ned now decides it's the time to go for it, because this horse has raced clear in France, Margaret's Legacy.
Adrian Heskin then on Tritonic, tracking old rival Casalupi. John Lott's going well, isn't he?
Honor de Joncs just had a little shake up there. Tritonic had a shake of the reins.
Yes, he did.
John Locke is probably travelling.
We are going
than
to
Tritonic
what? This will be
upsides him.
3 out, guys, is it? I think we're coming on the inside camera at the minute at Kempton. I'm not a big fan of the inside camera there. I like the outside because you can really get the rangy idea of how they're going. This is 4 out, I think.
Skelton's done a
by
great
looking
job with John Locke's jumping.
He's just a little bit sticky.
all
This
jump so
is
well,
the
Skelton.
experience
They all
that
jump
Alan
so
King
well.
wants to get in then. As on a donk, looks like that last time out.
Marta de Mott's effort was very short-lived. That's gone.
Paced out the back. So will the pace collapse? He's in an ideal position. Alan King will be happy, win, lose or draw with the ride. Tell you what, Paso Doble is filling his lungs. He's getting into it. Can he pick him up as they start to feel the pinch up front? Margaret's Legacy, he's done too much. Casalupe, John Locke, TC starting to get a little bit concentrated. This is one at a price. Paso Doble now coming into it. Okay, so on the bridle he is Tritonic. We know he stays. Paso Doble's got a kick at the minute. Casalupi's there rather. Paso Doble, what am I talking about? Here comes Tritonic. Come on the Triumph Force. Paso Doble and Harry Compton, they look like they're the dangers. He's bungled over that one. Casalupi. Paso Doble not great. John Locke needing it. This is good stuff, this, guys. This is a horse that will stay over hurdles. He's absolutely loving this ground. He has a little look at the last. Go on, get over it. He's up and over fine. The Triumph Dream is alive. Alan King.
Now he sprints away.
We'll get you a time for this because this is electric. Zana here has something to think about in the Triumph.
I bet that's a good time.
Was impressive.
Very impressive turn of foot to put that race to bed. And come around the bend, he looked in brief bit of trouble, quickened up well to get on the shoulder of Casalupi. Also want to be taking Paso Doble out of that race. He's a big horse.
He wants a galloping track, doesn't he?
He stayed on so powerfully. He's a horse for next time, Paso Doble.
I think they've gone hard there, and it's made Tritonic maybe look a little better. Well, certainly Casalupi's got a bit tired.
Yeah.
Margaret's Legacy.
It's important to temper
John
some
Locke got tired
enthusiasm before we get to Young Wolf and the Close Brothers.
It was impressive from Tritonic. He's going to be better at Cheltenham, but I think what you've got a race there. You know, he never went big in running because I think the in-running market told you what was happening. these horses were going hard up front. They've set it up perfectly for a horse like Tritonic to come through, and it's also why Paso Doble is shaped like he has.
That
He's
was
got one off
so
his feet.
impressive, though, the way that he just wasn't that fluent on the far side when they started licking it up. The experience side there, the way that you thought, right, what's he? And then he comes back on the bridle. I'd love to see. He was having a look at the last flight as well, wasn't he? There's that experience notch that he's got. Before we find out what the guys think really about the Triumph and the strength of the race, let's go to Barry. When did he go really, really short, Barry?
He didn't trade big at all, Dave, to tell you the truth. He went short jumping the second last, but he always looked comfortable, like he was going to pick up Casalupe. Obviously, he's improved on his previous run against him. He's beaten him out of sight this time round. Hit a high at 2.34, but that could have been, I think he was 2.20 before the race even, or during the day of race market. So, yeah, didn't trade high at all, really. Travelled well and has won very impressively. Just waiting for an update from the traders to see. He's 5 from 8 for the Triumph Furrow now. Zanahiyr still your 9-4 favourite, but the shortest price UK runner.
I think if you're not on Tritonic, I don't think you can argue with fives at all. I don't think you can argue with 5 to 1. I don't think that's missing the boat. I think he would look like one of the each way plays at the festival to me now.
What's the ground going to be like at the festival? Is it going to be good to soft or good?
He's by See the Moon, isn't he? And the Triumph is on the Friday. Now, I don't know. I'm associated. It can deluge on the Friday sometimes, can't it? And it is a race where they tend, unless it totally cuts up, where they tend to get racing a long way out.
If the ground's quick, I'd say he's very hard to beat. But Zanahiyr is obviously the form bearer.
Zanahiyr was a flat horse, of course, wasn't he?
All 3 of his hurdle starts been on soft though. But he is proven. He's versatile.
He was just touched off by Highland Chief, very highly regarded by the Coles, and the Royal Ascot Handicap, wasn't it? The Golden Gates Handicap.
He ended up running in group races, that horse.
Oh, yeah. They thought he was a prop horse. They couldn't quite get him right, Highland Chief. He could still be a big horse, Roddy Cole. But look, this is a horse that just touched off at Royal Ascot. This is a horse that Alan King wins Group 2s on the flat. He's won 30 Grade 1 winners. This is a special animal, this. And isn't it lovely to see this type of horse going hurdling rather than down under or indeed to Hong Kong or something like that, which is where they've all been going.
Would he be fast enough for Hong Kong?
He'd be a Melbourne Cup type if they get him
well,
down
that's the sort of people that would buy him.
Do you know what? I got up this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, as I told you earlier. I saw the moon, the full moon for Young Wolf in the Close Brothers Chase. It's all stars are aligning. There was a crowd at Flemington this morning. No masks, about 15,000 of them. Australian Guineas Day. It was actually quite hard to watch. I started to really realise what we've been missing out on. And you could tell that it was quite funny. I was watching Sky Australia, I think it was, and there was a couple of guys doing the old McCurrick thing behind him, wave, and you could hear the director almost go, "Get it off that shot!" But I would have thought this is the time, isn't it? Let's relish in people behind the camera making wallies of themselves. Well, we've missed it for a year and a half. Let's get some socials up on the screen then. Okay, Tritonic, unconstructed. Unstructured. Thank you, Rob Lee. Okay, Tritonic reminded me of when Redician won that race in 2018. A decent. He's better than Redician.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah,
he is better.
Okay, so how did Redician do in the Triumph? Can we remember? Did he run in a Triumph? Whoa, it's a tough one, isn't it?
I'm finding out.
Yeah, you can find out yourself. Did he
I remember being at the Derby Awards once when he ran at
in a race
Wolverhampton
after.
one night, and we sort of looked with one eye open when he got the job done. That's all I remember about Redician.
Yeah, sick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was on soft ground.
Did you say Farclar?
Clarkham, wasn't it?
Farclas. The Gordon Elliott horse.
Clarkham, was it? God, it's hard to remember all these horses. Gordon Elliott then. Will he be worrying about Tritonic? Let us know. It's 5 to 1 now, a little bit skinny. I think it's still fair enough, to be honest. That was why we get out of bed for jump racing.
The time was about 3 seconds over standard, and they've gone hard. It's no worse than you'd expect, but nor is it any better.
What are we saying
He's
about
done
the
it on a
ground?
bet, hasn't he, as well?
What do you reckon about the final sectional? Do you reckon it would have been quick, the final furlong?
I'd have been probably, given he's flat in the last as well, and he's finished on a bit, I reckon it would have been somewhere.
Did he
100%.
flatten the last? I didn't really see that.
Second last.
No,
Second
two
last.
out.
Okay, the other ones, yeah. Casalupe, what was Casalupe rated on the flat? Let me have a look. This is awesome.
He was a real disappointment on the flat, that Casalupe. I put him up a few times.
TC put the boot in.
He
hasn't won. Oh yeah, he did win, didn't he, at Kempton on the all-weather in December.
Rated 69.
Okay, all right. So look, talking of the all-weather, as I'm told in my ear by Millwall, let's go to Lingfield, because it is the Winter Derby itself, and there's going to be a clean sweep here on the panel. But let's find out first what Barry Orr thinks of the market.
Yeah, it's headed by Father of Jazz, who's been a real revelation in his last couple of runs. Obviously, very impressive winning the handicap last day. That was his first handicap off 90. He got £11 for that. He's rated 101. It puts him in the mix here. Felix is 3.55, 5.5 Forest of Dern, 7.2 Johnny Dram, and 22 Power Estates. I like Father of Jazz. Just visually, he's been very impressive. He still has to improve again to win this. So I'd be a backer of him, but not sub 2-1. So we're going to put in to back him at 3.0, please. So we're going to be a price maker here. And if I don't get matched, I'm not going to be too disappointed at it. I'm not going to chase the price down. He's 2.76 at the moment, 7-4. Bang on, 7-4. I'll back him at 2-1, but not anything under that. So if we can have 50 quid on him at 3.0 and we leave it there and see how the market reacts. Already he's drifting out a bit to 8.2. I think there's going to be money for Felix, Forest of Dern, not without a chance, and Johnny Drama. So money all around him. I expect we'll get matched in the favourite, hopefully at 2-1.
The Fav could be anything, Father of Jazz, to bebop his way home for Barry Orr. But we have a clean sweep, I think, for the one and only time this afternoon. Down the panel, you're napping it. Take it away with...
Felix, yeah, I'm a big fan of Felix. He's a son of Lope de Vega. Lope de Vega's a brilliant sire. I really like his progeny.
You're hoping for a job with Waverley Stud or something. They're the ones that have all the loppies, aren't they?
Yes. No,
He batted that off, didn't he? I saw him tweeting as well just before while Barry was talking. He said, I'm about to give you a mention.
Definitely not. No, look, this horse has improved markedly since moving from Sir Michael Stout. It was originally with Luca Kamani, Felix. Went to Sir Michael Stout, who obviously brought him through the ranks.
The Fittick stud colours, wasn't it?
Yes.
Those very famous
yeah,
Kamani
exactly.
colours.
And went through the ranks with Stout, as you like to see with young horses. And he moved to Marco Botti, and he's gone from strength to strength since on the all-weather. He beat Bangkok on his first run back from a 313-day layoff. And beating Bangkok is no mean feat. He's a very good horse, and as I've just mentioned, a very good horse. He beat Felix last time. Now Bangkok got the run of the race that day.
Yeah, it was. This could be tactical again, though, TC, couldn't it?
It could be, but I don't think there's a horse of Bangkok's calibre in this field. So I'm hoping that with Holly Doyle back on board, she's getting back on instead of Richard Kingscote. Felix won't be as far behind as he was last time. He had to swing really wide. He was the last one to really make his move that day and closed right up to the line to only be beaten half a length. And I just feel like Father of Jazz, who's not rated as high as Felix yet, he could be rated in the future. He's a very promising horse, but Felix has to be the bet and should be favourite in this race.
Yeah, OK, so Felix ran to a race exposed rating of 111 last time. The totally unexposed Father of Jazz got a 106. It's trained by that yard, isn't it? I say that in varying inverted commas. They're always, the bookies conservatively price him all times when the horse turns up with a 1 next to the name of Rogers.
Yeah, and it's because he's unexposed. You know, he had the P, so to speak. He's just and the variant horses, they're always well bred and lightly raced, so they always have this sort of aura about them that makes you want to price them up conservatively. As you've alluded to, I fancy Felix as well. My sort of view on it was, if Bangkok turned up in the race, he'd be 4 to 5, wouldn't he? And Felix, we've established in the last 2 runs that Felix is maybe a couple of pounds worse than Bangkok, but only that. So 9 to 4 to back him seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me. I mean, if the variant horse beats you, so be it. Mm-hmm. You've run into a good one. But I just thought that price, it was 9 to 4 then, he's bigger now, it was just a bit big.
Yeah. I think that we can say a tactical affair for Johnny Drama, who one of our viewers said has got a good chance earlier in the show. Probably won't be ideal for him. What a revelation he's been, Johnny Drama. I remember Bruce Millington used to tell me he was going to win all the time last year on this show, and he couldn't do it. He switches to the all-weather, and he absolutely makes hay, doesn't he? It was great to see him at Southwell at the time. He was rowing along. He's a bit more of a boat, I think we can say, can't we? And that's not being disparaging to him at all. Lingfield might not be ideal in this. No. And
it's quite easy to be made look a boat at Lingfield, let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And Power Estates is a horse I really like. Ben Curtis gave that a superb ride when he won at Wolverhampton last time. He won't want to dawdle. When he was 4th at a time before, and this is probably biting off a bit more than he could chew. Forrester Dean, I don't see how he reverses it with Felix.
No.
He shaped quite well in that race.
He did, and he promises to get the run of it, TC, didn't he?
He does, but I thought that Felix had the worst trip last time out in that race and still managed to beat
him, exactly. So it's really what I base this on, and many of you out there did, and Barry thinks this will play out, is that Father of Jazz is the fly in the ointment for Felix. However, when I looked at this when the markets went up, I was like, well, Father of Jazz is going to be favourite. So what price is Felix, who left something on the table last time? So for me as a second favourite, I'm quite happy to be with Felix here as well. So it's a clean sweep down the panel for Felix. Father of Jazz has got really interesting pedigree, actually. He's half-rides a horse called Beyond Conceit. Nicky Henderson, do you remember, stayed really well. And his hurdler's in the pedigree as well. So he's a Kinman. He really ought to be getting mile 4 easy.
Well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good.
So look,
is there a Kingman that stays a mile 4 yet?
Oh, we might well be seeing one.
Because they're fast horses, these Kingmans.
Yeah. Super sire, isn't he? So
Right,
so look,
he was actually a much better horse than he got a chance to show on the track.
Very much so. It will be very exciting for Father of Jazz, and I think Roger Varing if this wins this well. So good luck wherever you're going. Do you fancy calling this?
Yeah, go for it.
The
Go
Winter Derby. Tom Collins. You've seen him on Sky. You've heard his postcards. You've seen him on Twitter. He's making his commentating debut.
Right, here we go.
Let's hope they've run a million miles and they all finish in a heap. And Keith Melrose, his betting editor, is sitting right next door.
Got a big stick.
Exactly. We're marking you up. I've got the red pen. Keith's got a stick. Barry, we're letting him do it. He's commentating. Okay, they're about to go off in 2:40, the Winter Derby. Away we go, TC!
And they've broken away for the Winter Derby. Power of States was the slowest away, but Felix is now struggling to get into stride. He's often slow away in his races though and held up, so don't rule him out.
Very good composure, despite the fact you've got money in your pocket. Unlike Tony Ennis, you're showing no emotion.
So Johnny Drama's gone on with the lead with Ryan Moore. He's already had a couple of winners today at Lingfield. In second is Forest of Dean, in the prime position, 1 out, 1 back. Then the third on the inside is Power of States. Outside him is Father of Jazz, who's racing slightly keenly, but travelling still pretty well. And then at the back is Felix under Holly Doyle biding her time. That
went a lot better than I was expecting. I'm a little bit disappointed by how well it went, actually.
Get a round of applause.
We can go to Barry during this because it is a mile 2. Barry, Johnny Drama in front. Didn't see that happening. A little bit keen. And Felix, after that start, the market can't like him.
No, he went out to 5 off the back of that tardy start. 2.78 the favourite now. Father of Jazz. 3.5 Forest of Dean. 6.8 Johnny Drama.
Tactical it is then. Keith, what do you think about Felix? Can he possibly motor them down, or is this one for the pace setters?
I think I'm not tearing up my slip yet, but it's in my hand. I'm holding it tight and it might get balled up in a second because that's not the place to be this way this race is panning out.
He's a top course commentator in the making. It is Top Cat, 10-point Tom. Back to him for the Winter Derby.
Yeah, so Ramore just steadied the pace going down the back. They've gone standard sectionals, 12.16 and then 12.22, and then he's going to stack them up and then quick and clear coming to the 3 furlong marker. He's just stacked them up again, 12.62. Forest of Dean on the outside of Johnny Drama. Back, one out, 1 back again, Father of Jazz. He's just being wound up by Callum Shepherd. On the inside, Power of States in a pocket at the moment, and then Felix and Holly Doyle being wound up around the outside, going to come wide around the bend.
They're going for it, Tom. Come
Forest
on.
of Dean has gone clear. Here we go. I'm a bit
come on, my old son. Come on, you can do this.
Quick and 2 lengths clear of Johnny Drama. Father of Jazz looks in a bit of trouble on the outside, and Felix now winding up down the outside. Felix. Forest of Dean's in the lead. 3 lengths clear. 2 lengths clear.
I don't know if
looks like he might
there.
be gone.
Come on, Holly.
This is gone.
Felix
it's
is
the longest final furlong. This is gone.
Beating on the inside. Felix is coming now, making a real run. Forest of Dean by a length. Felix in second. Forest of Dean's going to win it again for John Gosden by a length. Felix in second. Father of Jazz a further length back. Power States in fourth, and Johnny Drama last.
Well, if you missed the break in a tactical affair, you are cooked. And I think Holly Doyle will be coming back and saying we should have won that race. That's 2 he's left on the table. Gives him a little bit to prove, doesn't it? I'll tell you what, you can be a little bit quiet sometimes.
Yeah, I like
in the office, you're a little bit quiet. But can your girlfriend get a word in home? If there was a word count there during that commentary, I thought Ross Briley did it quick. Unbelievable.
No, when I was younger, I used to race my little Hot Wheels cars around. Like I did a race with my cars. So I was talking like when I'm 4 or 5 years old. So
on a black couch, shall we start talking about your childhood?
I used to do commentaries.
Do you get this during the week with him? You have to do all his appraisals and all that sort of thing, don't you?
We don't do commentaries in the appraisal.
Well, listen, TC, that was excellent. Super stuff. Forest of Dean, we didn't see it coming, did we? Before we go to the panellists and dissect the form, Barry, it was a tactical affair. When did the market know the favourite was cooked?
Yeah, Forest of Dean, a Betfair SP of 4.78. Father of Jazz hit a low at 2.30, having to dive for the inside. That's surprising. And Felix traded low at 2.14, would you believe? A little over 11 to 10.
Really? As short as that?
Ridiculous, isn't it?
It is the slowest final furlong in racing, I think, Lingfield's last one. That and Beverley are really just a slow watch, isn't it?
Yeah. He looks
got something that goes clearly.
It's a dangerous thing to see on either afternoon.
Oh, yeah, I mean on the flat, of course. The last after the Eider. On tacky, horrible ground, David Carr told us no horse wants to run on it. We will be going up to Newcastle at 3:15. We're about half an hour away from that. We bid farewell to Leafy Lingfield. 2 great races we've given you there. Let's hope you found the winner, Forrester Dean. He did reverse the form with Felix.
Was a great ride as well. We have to say, great ride.
Yeah, he was in the right spot all the way around, wasn't
Quickened
he?
at the perfect moment and won the race for Forrester Dean.
And, you know, with Johnny Drama just setting it up for him, I think a little bit of tactical affair. As we said, we didn't get it right. Felix blew it at the start. Well done if you were on Forrester Dean. I know he has got his followers out there. Okay, but right now we've got to go back to Kempton, haven't we? The 3 o'clock. It's another novice hurdle. The Adonis is followed by the Dovecot. And a man that has won this enough times is Alan King as well. He's got Son of Red in there. Told myself and Keith Melrose yesterday when we did a feature with him that this was qualifying for the Fred Winter. He needs to get a 3rd run into him by Sunday. I said to you, does that mean the weights come out on Sunday? You quite cleverly said no, that's when the marks have to be given. When are we expecting weights for the Cheltenham Festival?
It's Tuesday or Wednesday. But it's definitely the middle of this week.
Tuesday, I think, yeah.
Tuesday.
Well, normally with handicap marks, they get announced on Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock. I've been known to go in racing database. The VHU
Have you got a
database.
long-range pick for the Cheltenham Festival handicaps? Let me know. I'll get in straight away with the shunter. Do you remember Barry? I put this up when he ran over 2 miles at Leopardstown at the Dublin Festival. He just was too sharp for him. He's a great hurdle winner. I love him. Have you got one for the handicaps, Barry?
No, not really. I couldn't fancy one until I see the weights, really.
There you go. Just short and succinct. Keeping it straight. Yeah, because
I know someone fancies the boss's Oscar, though.
I wonder who that
Oh, you had to get there, didn't you? I was going to leave him till last. I think we just dropped viewers, I think, on this. We don't need to know why the boss's Oscar, but that's according to Elliot Holst that you've been supporting throughout, haven't you?
Yeah, the boss's Oscar. And I think Ganapathy is another one. If William Mullins doesn't go for the Supreme with Ganapathy, I think he's entered...
You think he might go for County?
Is it the County? Yeah, he's entered another race. So if he goes for that and gets a nice weight, then Ganapathy's interesting as well.
That is very interesting indeed. Keith Melrose.
You know, I'm waiting for the weights to come out. We're close enough to that now, but I saw the way that Spirit of the Games was entered up during the week. Now, he's a horse that loves these big field handicaps at Cheltenham because he does it all on the bridle. He's got lots of form in those races. But I think Dan Skelton noticed a couple of weeks ago that, Christ, his hurdles marks a stone lower.
He ran in the week, didn't he?
He ran in the week and ran well. He's qualified for the Pertemps.
Bridled again, didn't he?
Oh, he's a bridle horse, but he gets through these races very well. I've backed him for both the Coral Cup and the Pertemps. He's entered in both. I think, knowing the Skeltons, knowing that they love an angle, don't they? They love to do something clever. And the clever thing with Spirit of the Games is to run him off that lower hurdles mark, which I think is what they'll do. So I've backed him for both in the hope that I hope he runs in the Pertemps because he's a bigger price and I got no bet in the Coral Cup. So I hope he runs in the Pertemps.
Okay, another one for the Pertemps then. All right, so that's a little look at the Cheltenham handicap. Son of Red, we think, will be going to the Boodles, the Fred Winter. Before we get a look at the market for the Dovecot, let's get some viewer interaction. Who's coming up next on the screen? And this is the name that I never be able to pronounce each week, but she keeps coming back with it. Dugru Xuru, I'm going to go for the Curragh. Went for many years with grandfather when I was just a nipper. Wonderful memories. Wonderful times and cherished memories, I should say. It's the name that threw me. Yeah, absolutely, the Curragh. Oh, can't wait to get back on the Curragh. Absolutely fantastic scenes. Mark Smith. I'm in now from Newmarket, says Mark. So hopefully a trip down the A14 very soon.
Isn't it now we're on the A14 about 2 miles?
That's it. Let's get another one up and let's finish him off. One more coming in with Chris Timms comes back on and says, I'm 30 minutes from Adoc. Okay, Timms, I should say. Hopefully back there for the old Newton Cup in July. That's a great race,
I like Haydock. Haydock's one of my favourite tracks to go to. I like the atmosphere there.
Usually a wet summer's day there, isn't it?
No, not at all. I've been for some nice summer's evenings.
Tell me the last old Newton Cup was run on good to firm. It doesn't seem to ever be the case, is it?
Well, that's true enough. But
memory plays tricks you, doesn't it? But we have extremes of weather at the moment, guys, don't we? There's no middling weather, is there?
I know, it's lovely outside today.
Who would have thought 2 weeks ago that we'd be talking about maybe watering at Cheltenham? I know. Well, ridiculous, aren't we?
Yeah, it is, but you hope they don't.
Well, that's another thought altogether. Will Simon Clace put some water on? Amazing how the tide can turn. Let's go to Barry then. Athol Street, Barry. Paul Nichols, a race he's farmed over the years. And this guy, he's on a hat trick. He's up in grade, but he looks the real deal.
Yeah, well, he's been impressive in Taunton so far. I don't know what... You couldn't read much into the form of the races, but he's won by 4 lengths and 16 lengths off in front. It's a massive step up for him here, obviously. But he's the pace angle in the race Paul's won it 4 times, like you say. He's been crying out for a bit of good ground, this horse, and he's been patient with him to wait for the better ground. And they've been duly rewarded here today. Cape Gentleman's been the springer in the race, was as big as 4.8, is into 11-4 now, 3.75. Calico, another one at 3.75, and it's 23 bar. What I'm going to do, though, Dave, I'm going to back at Tall Street, just being that he's the pace angle and he's going to go off in front. But he could set it up for one of the more speedier types, being Calico maybe, or Cape Gentleman, who'll really appreciate dropping back to 2 miles here. I forget his run last day, and John Joe Neal Jr. in the plate's a big plus for him as well. So going to have 50 quid in the Tall Street, and then I'm going to put into lay the 50 quid back in running. So we'll have a bet to nothing. Happy to lay it at the even money mark if he was to win. And, you know, if he gets chinned by one of the more speedier types, we've a bet to nothing in the race, like I say. So that's the play, the exchange play here for the charity.
Okay, thank you very much, Barry Orr. Okay, so all right. So that's the way that that Barry's playing it. I was looking at Cape Gentleman there. That's what he is very interesting to me. Mm-hmm. But let's go down the panel with Keith Melrose. You like Athol Street?
I do indeed. Now, obviously, Barry alluded to the form there and how you can't make all that much of what he's done. But the horses that finished 2nd, 3rd, and 4th behind him at Taunton have all placed in bumpers in recent weeks. And I also took the chance to ask Alan King yesterday when I spoke to him about Heart of a Lion, who was 2nd. I says, "What did you think of finishing that?" 16-length second to Athol Street, Alan. I wonder if you can help me with the form. He said, it means that I didn't think I was as good as I hoped he was. Obviously, that's code for the horse is quite good, but he's been smashed out of sight. Now, he could have just been smashed out of sight by a very good horse. Athol Street was very expensive. He's got the pedigree of a horse and the makeup of a horse that will be a really smashing 3-mile chaser. He's just been slow to get going. You know, does that sort of horse win a Dovecote? And you maybe could say no, but I think you look at this race in 3 years' time and you'll see there's no question who the best horse in that race was. And he's about 15-8, so I think he's the one I put up for it.
Yes, fair enough. Just looking down at the Dovecote winners, is he the sort of horse that wins it? Nichols has won this in the past 10 years. Irving.
Southfield Stone, another one? That was
Southfield Stone was the most recent one, beat Angel's Breath, didn't he? He was massively hyped, Angel's Breath. Unfortunately, been on the sidelines. Global Citizen won it. River Wild for Winter Escape, of course, won it for Alan King. He had his problems, didn't he? It was highly regarded. Days of Heaven. Speedy horses, basically, tend to win.
Yeah, it's fast horses that win these races.
It's not really the Trevor Hemmings mould, this TC, is it?
No, as Keith alluded to, I thought he was an out-and-out 3-mile chaser in the making at Athol Street, and I wanted to take him on at the prices. Now, what he's done over hurdles so far is better than what most of these have. Lunar Sovereign's obviously won his last 2, but Athol Street deserves to be top rated. I thought Calico was interesting based on the German form, but probably wants more testing ground. So I'm with Cape Gentleman in here for Emmett Mullins.
Ditto.
Yeah, Emmett Mullins wouldn't just send one over. Emmett Mullins loves a gamble. He does it so often in Ireland. You see him all the time and they just get backed off the boards. They don't always win, obviously. Get backed off the boards. And Cape Gentleman was available at much bigger prices earlier in the week.
Iris Zarowicz winner.
This horse won the Iris Zarowicz. That was only his 2nd start for Mullins, Emmett Mullins, after moving from France, where he also won on the flat. Then he bolted up on maiden hurdle debut at Punchdown over Christmas, just before Christmas. Scrapped the last run. Literally put a line for it. He was keen early.
What happened that day?
Well, one, it was a really good field.
It was in the opening race at the Dublin Festival, wasn't it?
Yeah, won by
2 miles 6.
Ballymore favourite, Gael de Manil.
Yeah.
He was keen early. He hung throughout. He didn't look like he really liked the track at all.
Beaten after 2 flights, I thought. I know because it was one of my stronger fancies of the week.
But he took money, didn't he? It was a very good race, and he took money.
He looked like the real deal at Punchestown on his debut, didn't he?
Drop back and trip. This just looks like a proper plot.
I wondered whether he might be a flyer for the Supreme. And the fact that they were running over 2 miles 6 at Leopardstown means that they think that flat staying form will have to come into it. Now, this is 2 miles around Kempton. So you have to think that they're going to want to sort of be up there. 2 mile 4, of course, on his hurdling debut at Punchestown. Yeah, I didn't see this coming at all. But throughout the week, he's been steadily backed. TC says that Emmett Mullins likes a gamble, Barry. He's a trainer that's really made a name for himself with landing some plunges, hasn't he? Of course, with the shunter in the Greatwood.
Yeah. And a former colleague of yours is very close to the yard as well, Paul Byrne, who likes to have a punt as well. So no surprise here. Yeah, he pulled very hard. Even in Punchestown today, he won, he pulled hard, and he pulled hard last day as well. So a real strong 2 miles around Kempton will suit him, I think. Interestingly, he's only entered the Ballymore and the Albert Bartlett, so they must think he is an out-and-out stayer. But They're dropping him back the trip here, and there's money for him.
I checked for handicap entries just there because it's his third hurdle start.
Yes.
You know, and you need to be qualified for big handicaps. You need that third run, I think.
So, because this is a bit of a grey area if they've got an F or a P next to their name, isn't it?
Well, it's a run, isn't it? So it counts.
Does it? A P counts, does it?
Yeah, well, it used to count
It's
to
a
get you
third run.
Yeah, you have to have run 3.
Do they not sort of say, listen, I want to see it have another run, you know?
Is it not completed starts? No?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was completed starts as well, but there probably is a bit of a grey area about that. Betting editor ought to probably know.
Well, I can tell you for fences for definite. Hurdles, I would like to have a racing admin at my fingertips.
Well, you would like to think if it's for
the English
fences, it would be hurdles as well, wouldn't you?
Well, you'd have thought so.
Is it not at the discretion of the English handicapper anyway for an Irish horse?
Well, for the Irish horse, certainly would be. But yeah, maybe that's what. Has he got an entry?
He's got no handicap entries. Though.
Yeah, he would have been interested in something like a strong-run county hurdle, wouldn't he? But I think whatever happens today, Cape Gentleman is a horse that will mix it, and he's got a lot more to come. John Joe O'Neill Jr. rides. Anything else in the pack? Mackenberg is relatively interesting for me because he's a horse that probably haven't seen the best of so far. And Donald McCain, as I said on a couple of shows recently, I think he's not far off hitting the big time again, you know, with some of his
really
young
like
novices.
that. Is it Bareback Jack?
Bareback Jack for the Supreme, on a line through third time lucky. I think shouldn't be that up far in the market behind Appreciate It.
There's a couple of McCain's that I think they're looking quite good this year. He's
Dreams
got
of Home looks super.
He's got a chaser in the Leslie colours as well that's quite good this year. It's not going to be a superstar, but you can think it's a horse that might end up running at Aintree or something. And yeah, I can see what you mean. The McCain's got...
He's coming back, I think.
There's a few more of these horses are getting closer to fulfilling their potential than... Because what used to happen is they'd win a few northern races and then, you know, they wouldn't really go on once they started taking in the bigger races, but they're showing signs of doing that now.
Yeah.
Which is what you want to see, really.
Yes, okay. So
that Mackenberg has traded at 3s on. He traded at 50 to 1 on in Weatherby, and he traded at 2 to 1 against in Aintree in his last 3 runs. So, yeah, he was one I was going to put into lay-in running, but he seems like he's a bit of a monkey, especially the 50s on in Weatherby that day.
I wonder whether they're running here to get a little feel for the division with Bareback Jack. This will be interesting. He's 33 to 1 shot, but as Barry says, he can travel. Luna Sovereign, of course, for Fergal O'Brien, and Paddy Brennan took out a grade 2, didn't they, the other week at Haydock, and a yard that just never seems out of form. I want to talk about this thing, form. By the way, I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about this.
Right.
We've had a lot gets said usually once a season, doesn't it? What does the word form mean? You get a lot of clever people coming out and dissecting it and say we should never use the word form, you know, and they use people. But can we just agree that the word form means that something that's going well? It doesn't really actually have, like momentum. That's Bruce Millington's hate word, isn't it? Momentum. He said, look at what the word actually means. These commentators should never use it. You've got the momentum. It doesn't actually make any sense. When you say someone's in form, it just means that things are going well for them, doesn't it? Or when they're out of form, they're going through a cold spell or something like that. I don't think it actually means that, you know, like, for example, a football team, you know, like Liverpool, TC.
Oh, don't bring it
You
up.
would call them out of form. Okay, so
Yeah.
But there are all sorts of reasons for why a yard might be in or out of form. When it's just a simple way of saying that things are going well for a stable.
The issue about form and stable form in particular wouldn't be a semantic one. It's the fact that it gets used far too often. It can be deployed on the
Because it's an old school saying, you see.
The thinnest the pretext is sometimes it gets batted out. And yeah, I think too much is made
But
of
you
short
do know
term.
what someone means when they say it, don't you?
Yeah, and half the time they're talking nonsense.
Well, that may be the case. It may well be the case, but it's a saying that's not going away.
No, and it absolutely should. I mean, it's relevant, but it's overused.
Yeah, okay, all right. So look, anyway, the form of the McCain yard is coming back. The form of the Skelton yard, by the way, it's ridiculous.
16 winners in the last 2 weeks, something like that. It's very
the
impressive.
run of the Skelton yard, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it in that. Yeah, you see it in that instance, but it's just a good yard, isn't it? So why? I don't think you need to elaborate much more than that.
Well, they can't do a lot wrong at the moment, can they, Skelton? They're winning races willy-nilly.
They've got a lot
all
of
over the place.
horses that like quicker conditions, which is a big help when the ground obviously turns faster from being heavy or soft.
Still looking forward to that Arkle horse.
We're a couple of minutes away then from the Dove Cup. We're hotting up towards the Close Brothers Chase at 3:35.
I tell you what, Bruce would pick you up for hotting up. He hates it.
Let's hope he's watching. Hotting up, we're getting some momentum behind us as well.
Yeah, alluded as well, hates that as well. So.
Very.
You're in good form, Dave, anyway.
Yeah, we're in great form. Very is another word that he tried to ban. We're just watching the Bobby Joe Chase. It looks like
Burrows
Saint's
Saints is going to win easy,
We're talking
isn't
about
he?
Grand National, of course, with Burrows Saint. You like him. Looks like you'll be watching Fairy House now, Acapella Bourgeois. We're waiting for that. There's a slight delay at Newcastle. Newcastle, I think.
Always beat.
I've had a word from David Carr saying that they are inspecting a flight, apparently. I don't know if it's a fence or a hurdle, but there's a slight delay. Hopefully they'll get back on track before the 3:15 of the Eider Chase. Just to remind you, lots of love for Salty Boy out there. Let's go back and have a last market look then before this dove cuts off, Barry. Athol Street, is the opposition mounting?
Yes, Calico into 4 now. 3.75 Cape Gentleman, 2.9 at Tall Street. I was just watching Burrough Saint there. Sorry, lads.
Did he get
he's
beat?
Finished
Well, he
second,
got
so
beat.
he's got beat, but he's qualified for the national now. Yeah. Obviously, he's finished in the first 4. That's what they needed to do. I think that's mission complete for them. 12-1 joint favour for the Grand National. But 2.98 at Tall Street, 3.6 Cape Gentleman, and 4 Calico now. It's 26. But some money for Lunar Sovereign. Paddy Brendan the plate there into 19.5.
I want to talk about that horse actually, Lunar Sovereign, because if Craig Buckingham's a very shrewd owner.
Yes.
But if you picked up a Godolphin through it for $6,000, you're not sending.
Is that what this chap is?
Yeah, you sent to Fergal O'Brien. How Fergal O'Brien gets store horses. Now he's a tremendous trainer, Fergal O'Brien. Yeah. But he's not. You won't have many like Lunar Sovereign. It's an interesting one, and he's looked, on pedigree you'd say he'd be quick enough for this, but he has looked like he has looked more of a staying 2-miler in the races he's won so far. He might find it a bit hot today, but it's an interesting one. I'm sure O'Brien will make a really good horse of him. It's just an interesting one to send him off there.
They're off and running then in the Dovecote, and the aforementioned Lunar Sovereign, only £5 off according to the handicap of the favourite Athol Street. The pair are getting on with it at the moment. Keen in behind, having a run before the Fred Winter is Son of Red. Mackenberg settles nicely on the inside. Cape Gentleman, he's giving the outside to absolutely no one. A little bit exuberant, wouldn't worry about it at the moment. Looking for Pyramid Place. If you watched him at Catterick last time, hated the place, didn't he? Looked really tricky under
I think he'd hate any track.
Still won. He's just one of those horses, but he's got some engine, I think. Just having a little look at that flight was Calico, I think, who is unusually for a Skelton horse, being anchored out the back.
Yeah, and Athol Street also left his hind legs in that hurdle, and Harry Cobden just had to regather his reins and the stride again. This Pyramid Place out the back is an absolute nutcase. He is, and he wouldn't like any track. He puts his head up in the air. He's got loads of ability, but he just looks awkward around every.
I backed him at Catterick last time. Steve Mason napped him, and I thought, yeah, he's on one here. It was a horrible watch, wasn't it, for quite a long way. But then when the turbo kicked in, but Paddy Brennan's perfect. Of course, Paddy switches off now. He's on Lunar Sovereign. Okay, how are the big guns going? If you're on Athol Street, Keith?
He's been a little bit keen so far. Well, if you're on Athol Street, you're looking forward to October when he jumps a fence because he's a lovely, big, athletic-looking horse.
Are you suggesting it's Chepstow was already earmarked for him? That
it
great
could be, yeah. That's
the Silver Trophy meeting, isn't it? Why were you oohing there?
Bad mistake by
McCain's hit it.
Mackenberg hit it then. What sort of gallop are they going, Barry? Do you think just an even one, and is the market reacting?
Yeah, married man's pace. Is that what the jockeys would call it? The market doesn't like a Tall Street. As soon as he got out in front, he went out to 3.5. So out to 5-2. He's a Betfair SP at 2.93. 4.2 Cape Gentleman. Calico's your shortener, 2.64 now. Dan Skelton's runner, and it's 20.
He looks like he's got plenty of running there.
Athol Street was a bit free in front. That might be why he's gone a little. He's drifted a little because I think basically Cobden's going as slow as he can get away with.
Yeah, okay, well that's interesting. So look, Mackenberg's the one now that's looking like he's finding the pace a little bit off as Calico moves up for Team Sizzling Skelton. Looking for Cape Gentleman where he must be on the outside. They're not going to want to hang around with him, are they, TC?
No, not at all. He's got stamina in abundance and he's just missed that hurdle. Calico's jumping really well for the Skeltons.
Yeah, I bet Calico's gone short, Barry, hasn't he?
Calico now is 2.2, Dave. Yeah,
but John
so
Locke
clear
did
favourite,
this.
3.6 at Tall Street.
Yeah, okay, so let's see how he gets home.
John Locke did this in the race earlier on in the card at Kempton. He travelled like the best horse in the race and then faded in the straight, so we'll see how Calico gets home.
Could we see something impressive to shake up, appreciate it? As Athol Street, a little bit novice there. Lunar Sovereign, now he's shaking the reins on the favourite. Cape Gentleman absolutely showing his class on the outside. Ooh. I'd say it might be between Cape Gentleman and Calico.
Yeah. Athol Street's finding this a little bit warm, isn't he?
Yeah, he's maybe the ground as well, potentially.
He's not changing his legs around the bend either, which is...
Okay, Cape Gentleman then, the stayer, Calico. He's going to have to be seriously classy to get this chap. I'd say it would be on the jumping, I'd imagine, because he was a little novice-y. Lunar Sovereign, he's sticking in there. Son of Red, filling his lungs. Can he possibly have a say? Coming to 2 out, Keith Melrose, call it.
Whatever that one in front is.
Cape Gentleman
sorry.
for
Cape
Emmett
Gentleman.
Mullins. But Dan Skelton, he's going to have a little look at this because his brother Harry is reining up. What have they spent? Now, Cape Gentleman, he stays. Will he get outspeeded? I reckon he might. It's on the jump and
he's hit it.
Calico hits
Athol
it.
Street pulled
Cape
up.
Gentleman, he's going to have to fill his lungs. Oh, don't like the head going.
Oh, the heads.
Calico.
Woohoo. Regal.
He's holding it. Go on, the gentleman. Cape Gentleman is going to be a big plunge.
Oh, that's horrible.
Coming to the last. He's jumped in
he
real
jumped
well.
away.
Calico got
He still
inside.
wins, still
but
wins.
He's going to do him. Oh, it's on the outside. They can't do anything wrong, can they? These skeleton
Stamina.
horses.
Stamina.
Cape Gentleman
Oh, no.
coming back.
Stamina.
Come on, the gentleman. Show him off, my old son.
Hello.
Here we go. We're warming up for the Wolf. Cape Gentleman sees off Calico. Head all over the place. Flattened the last two. Oh, Athol Street fell in a hole. That was a really good race. He's back on track. Some trainer that, Emmett Mullins.
Oh, he loves a gamble, doesn't he?
He loves a gamble.
No, it's a decent plunge, perfect race preparation and planning, and Cape Gentleman's used his stamina in the closer stages. He jumped the last brilliantly, came out of John Joe's hands, but then seemed to stumble briefly and then lost all the momentum. We're just about to see the replay now. Calico came on the outside, he slightly missed the last.
He leaves his back legs in the last, doesn't he, a little?
At the moment he
Stamina.
asked him for effort, basically.
Yeah.
It looked like he was either feeling the ground, and he's done the right thing, hasn't he? John Joe O'Neill Jr., who's on a quick double. He's just gone. What I love about these horses, if you're a punter and you're watching this, what you want, if you know someone is up against you who's maybe got a bit of equestrial revolution, go up to them, go and eyeball them. As soon as Cape Gentleman has come back to him, he's gone on a little bit further. Barry, let's go to you then. The market must have loved Calico throughout that home straight.
Well, yeah, he traded low at 106, so
106.
16 to 1 on.
Well, he actually got
for
past.
127 quid.
Because the first part you thought was, oh, he's not going to go past you, but then he got past.
Yeah.
Turns out that's because Cape Gentleman stumbled a little. And as soon as he got past, well, I've got to win, have I?
He's chucked it, yeah.
No, he threw that away.
It did look
the regal
like it,
head
didn't
carriage. It was horrible.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
It's like the
go.
Queen.
Yeah, you could never trust him, could you? If for the heart for a battle, he looks like I don't want to say dog it, but he definitely chucked it.
Why would you not want to say dog it, Barry?
I don't want to say dog it, but I
I
just
think
did.
it's a little bit disrespectful, is it, to the horses sometimes?
I don't know. Look, again, it's like form, isn't it? We know what you mean. It's
You
not
can't
really.
libel a horse, brother.
It's a bit
Still,
disrespectful
Phil
to a
used
dog,
always-
isn't it? I think. I'm probably saying it. Luna Sovereign ran really well. He was in there sticking along, wasn't he?
He ran his race.
He's a staying 2 miler at the moment. He'll stay further in time. You know, he's run well to finish third. He's just not got the speed of the first.
We're watching the replay back in the home straight. I've got my eyes on Son of Red a little bit. This is very much a prep for the Boodles. Just a line from Alan King, actually. Very pleased with how Tritonic went away at the line. And he's going to have the gears to go around Cheltenham. Athol Street pulling up there, we can see before the second.
Yeah,
last.
I think that might have been a physical thing there.
Yeah,
He's
it
dropped
was.
very
It
quickly.
was.
You were mentioning his legs were all over
Yeah,
the
his back
place.
legs looked a bit lame. One of his back right leg looked a bit lame, and he didn't change his front legs going around the bend either. He was going around as left lead when he was
Remember
going
that
right
he's
read.
been a long time in getting to this. You know, he hadn't run until his 6th
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, if you want to know about Athol Street, you can, of course, get on the Race Form analysis. They'll be doing that, of course. I was going to say Race Form Interactive. The Race Form analysis, you can get that around about half an hour after every race, and they usually give you the H14s, which is the Stewards' Inquiry notes for horses that pull up or indeed have issues. Athol Street, I think there might be one, unfortunately, coming his way. Mixed day then so far for Paul Nicholls. Tamarat de Mathan, extremely impressive, wasn't he, in the Pendle. Eye Catcher, Paso Doble in the Adonis. And not so good there in the Dovecote. But I like Cape Gentleman. He's just a nice horse. He's going to be one of those that they're going to plot him out, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think?
100%.
I suggest that was the quickest ground he would want, and I suggest that he probably won't be running anytime soon over 2 miles again.
No, it's going to be. I reckon he's going to be a handicap plot down the line for one of the big handicap hurdles.
Next year's Coral winner.
It's hard to plot a
Next
handicap when you win
Greatwood,
a
yeah.
Dovecote, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a
I
bit-
know. It's typical Emmett Mullins, though.
I bet Emmett Mullins has got a plan, don't you? So listen, we'll be interested to see what quotes come from James Byrne our way at Kempton. But now it's Melrose time, everyone. The Quizmaster's getting excited.
Come on.
It's time for the Eider.
Time for the Eider. It's time for the Eider.
Shall we? It's time for the Eider, Keith. Oh, we're getting excited. Then it'll be the Close Brothers Handicap. 2 more coming your way here on Racing Post Live. Keep your social comments coming in. Had some great viewer interaction so far. Like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Facebook Live, great to have you along. The comments, get them in. The guys will cipher them through. Hopefully give you a shout out. And if you're on Twitter, hashtag RP Live. Loving this afternoon. It's been absolutely a deliverer so far. Let's see what the market's going to say about the Eider with Barry Orr.
Yeah, so it's 5-8 at the moment. Salty Bay, Crossley, Tender, 7.6, 8.6, Sam's Adventure, Big River, 10, Cross Park, 10.5, Strong Economy, 12.5, 11.5, Little Red Lion. I like Salty Bay, and obviously there's a whole host of horses with chances, but Salty Bay, third in the Tommy Whittle in first-time cheek pieces. That was on heavy ground. He stayed on well that day. He was sixth in the Sussex National in Plumpton last time out, although he's only beaten 5 3/4 lengths. The race hasn't worked out that bad, actually. It was a funny run race. I think he's got a big chance here, obviously, and it'll be a just reward, bit of compensation for Connections having lost the conditional last weekend. A couple other horses I'd mentioned. Cross Park, he's traded at 5-2 on, 2-1 on, 6-1 on, and 11-8 against in his last 4 runs in running. So he's a bit of a monkey. Strong Economy hit a high of 800 last day before he won in air, and the time before that he had a high of 110. So he's one to watch out for going south of Adrian's Wall. I don't know. He'll have a bit of a nosebleed because I don't think he's raced many times outside of air, but one to watch out for with Conor O'Farrell in the plate. But for me, Salty Bay, yeah, win and place. Going to have 25 quid win and 25 quid place. And we're going to take 4 places in the place market on the Betfair Exchange. So going to be a price taker here. Happy to take in the lay box or in the back box 25 quid at 5.8 and then again in the 4 places.
Senior producer Rob Lee is doing the trading today. Like lightning, isn't he? He's almost preempting.
He's nearly too fast. Yeah,
he's nearly too fast. I said we need to find some happy medium out there. Unbelievable scenes. He's going to have to come in my ear, I think, with something. Just throw the earpiece away. So Salty Bay, I'm assuming that's somewhere you've been on holiday with the kids and the dog, Barry, is it? It must be somewhere up by Tremor, is it? I don't know.
I've never heard, but my kids call me salty sometimes. It's like slang for someone who gets into a bad form very quickly. They call me a salt dog. So Salty Bay.
I've seen the red mist come over you a couple of times potentially. I bet. Oh, he could get a bit salty a bit quickly. You're getting a bit salty for this race.
Yeah, Salty Boy's a horse I put up. He's jumping is the issue with him, but the sort of rule of thumb you like to have is that the slower they go, the easier it is to jump round. So 4 miles is going to help. 4 miles is going to suit him as well because he's a really grim steer. Plumpton was too sharp for him last time. It was a 3.5 mile race, sure, but he just couldn't go fast enough round those.
Was it you said to me yesterday? He got dizzy.
Got dizzy going round there. In fact, he'd get dizzy before he got tired going round Plumpton for sure because he'll stay all day for you. You know, the Newcastle fences take a bit of jumping, to be honest, but he is a horse that is going to suit that really gradual drag from about the end of the back straight in Newcastle. I'm not surprised he's been backed into favourite in the end. So yeah, he's the one I've been putting up. I'm looking forward to seeing how Big River runs because I know a lot of people that back him every time, and I think it would be very funny if today it turned out he did it again in the Eider and it was final confirmation that he's just a grifter.
A grifter?
Yeah. Stealing money out of all his fans that back him every damn time.
Yeah, it's
next time.
It's one of these great races, isn't it, the Eider? If you don't know, it's over 4. Is it 4 mile 1? It is 4 mile 1.5.
This is the first Eider since it got lengthened by 154 yards.
Ah, there you go. That's how much you know about the Eider. We should be keeping up to speed on this. I mean,
I was tempted to steal that fact because I subbed Keith's preview yesterday.
Is that right? Did you know? That must be interesting when here it comes. Sub Keith's. It's fine.
The analysis.
That was his shift. That was his shift yesterday.
Took
him 7 hours.
Fair enough. All right. So and you've come down. It was a coherent argument that you fell for as well.
Yeah, I mean, Keith's basically said my point for Salty Boy. He's just the best handicapped horse in the race. He's got to relish the step up and trip as well. I thought Big River was the main danger, but then, as Keith also mentioned, he's a horse that I always put up because he just looks well handicapped the way he travels through races and just doesn't ever really seem to produce. So there would be the two that I'd be interested in. It's not a race that I love. Look, I like sprints on the all-weather or the turf, so a 4 mile, 1.5 furlong handicap chase isn't my bag, but Salty Boy would be the selection.
Look, if you've not had your hour's exercise or whatever is allowed at the minute, you could probably do this and they'll still be finishing the final fence, won't they? It takes that long. Go and have a shower.
I called it an equine test match before we came on here.
You did, absolutely.
And it is what it's like, isn't it? It's
an equine test match.
The purest form of the game, Dave.
Yes, indeed. And long is absolutely the purest form. I love it. It's the Eider. What Eider memories have you got? I always remember Comply or Die. Probably the sexiest winner in recent memory, and he went on, of course, to follow up to the Grand National. It was like a stone well in, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, because in fact, he'd been placed in the Tommy Whittle the time before as well.
Aha!
Cloudy Bay was it? The Cloudy Bay it was called. That McCain thing that went off joint fav with him for the National.
I love it how Tom just said yeah. He's just when in doubt, say yeah to Keith Melrose. Now I've got to be honest, guys. You convinced me about Salty Boy yesterday. I put him up when we did a feature show together. I didn't expect every tipster from here to King's Kingdom to put him up. And 4-1 is a little bit skinny for me for a horse that doesn't win very often.
Well, I can see that. I mean, and it's not like there aren't dangers. Like Crossley Tender's been back to a price I couldn't back him at either.
The guys in the studio,
they love him. I mean,
all over
the horse that he beat at Exeter last time came out and won the Devon National yesterday. The race that he won at the Exeter, though, I thought got set up for him a little bit. And he shaped very well at Ascot last time, to be honest. He got Dickie Johnson set him far too much to do, I thought, but he's shaping quite well. I can see why he's fancied. I wouldn't have had him second favourite for this, but he wouldn't be a surprise winner to me at all. You've got Cross Park, who's very solid. I can't believe Barry called him some bad names. He's a smashing horse these days.
Well, that's what the Exchange highlights, and you were kind of looked at me and went, he's a monkey, was he? What do you know? But actually, Keith, he's now got 4 seconds next to his name.
He has. He's been running in good races, and he's 11, creeping up the weights. That's why he keeps.
Devon Nationals,
he was
London
veterans final last time, London National the time before. Horse with a lot of, he's been running in good races, and he's 11 now and rated 150. He won this off 135 2 years ago, so he's gone up a lot in the weight since then. The other one I would mention at a bigger price has actually had taken a bit of a walk is the Dutchman. He's only run 5 times over fences since March 2017. He's only finished twice. 2 of the non-completions were an unseat in the national second Foynehaven when he was going quite well, and a fall 4 out in the Roland Merrick last time when he was still in front. His other 2 finishes, he won the Peter Marsh and he was second.
He looked sure to win a Veterans Chase up at Haydock, didn't he?
Romantic, he traded 25-1 on that day.
He did. Monkey, according to Barry.
Late Romantic has been thriving this season as well. So
yeah, he has been doing
I think
well.
There's a lot to more like. There's more to like about the Dutchman than odds of 21 imply. The Springfield Fox is in here as well.
What's happened to Springfield Fox?
I put off the Welsh National and I gave him a chance the next time as well.
Tom George was really keen on him for the Welsh National. He thought it was too quick underfoot. When he got pulled up in the National Hunt Chase, Tom said to us, he just can't go that pace. And rather than bottom him for the next season, the jockey did the right thing of pulling him up. But last time, they held on to him for a bit, didn't they?
I think the last chance you would give him is if he gets to the front, because a couple of times he's not got to the front and he's not particularly enjoyed it hasn't looked like. But I thought last time that he might be finished for the season. I think I've had to leave him alone. I like him a lot, and I'll be extremely annoyed if he wins because I've backed him for a few things, but last time looked to me like a horse that's just not having it.
I think he will go to the front.
What about Strong Economy?
Strong Economy? Well, he keeps trading massive because he wants a monstrous trip. But he's running in...
Well, he gets it here, surely.
No, he gets it here, but he's been running against air yaks. He's running against proper horses here. So I don't think he'll be... I'm be surprised if he's...
pieces on, aren't they, to make sure he...
if this ended up like I've mentioned in the post today, so Tom will know.
Unless he subbed it out, of course.
It's 10 years since... I checked, he didn't. It's 10 years since Companero's Eider, which was a very...
Companero.
Gruelling renewal. We don't like to use the word gruelling too much, but that one was. And if it becomes like that, and if this had been a Companero renewal, Strong Economy might have won. Right. I'd be surprised if it happened this year.
I got a short list of 3 when I went off I didn't like the price of Salty Boy, so I put up Sam's Adventure, the horse, of course, that beat him in Tommy Whittle, and I just think 8-1's a silly price. He probably would have finished second to Royal Pagal last time. He's off the same mark. It's just whether this will be that bit too stiff for him.
Well, that's it. His form's all in really bad ground as well, like really deep ground. This is soft.
Yeah.
But
tacky,
worse.
David Carr. Yeah. No horse wants it, Brian.
When Haydock gets heavy, it's slop, and that's what Sam's Adventure suits. So that's the sort of ground that he's run all his best races in.
He has gone close from good to soft before, just look at his profile. But yeah, I agree. It's a price thing. Big River.
Price thing now. Sam's Adventure is a perfectly fair price. Now.
Exactly. He was the original anti-pose.
It's 4-1, 9-2 yesterday. He's an opposing price, whereas 8-1 is perfectly fair.
Exactly. That's right. So that's why I've come down to Sam's Adventure. I'll give him a chance again. He can be a little bit lazy. When he won the Tommy Whittle, he got a reminder right after the first. And
I think he's just a bit funny, to be honest.
Well, the pieces are on, aren't they? He's a very highly regarded bump horse.
Pieces are first time cheap piece also on Springfield Fox. And just going back to him, an interesting point is that David Bass has been booked. First ever ride for Tom George.
Bassy.
The way
first ever ride.
Yeah,
well, it's equivalent to putting a taser on a horse, isn't it? Getting David Bass
exactly.
Because he sends him at the front.
Exactly.
I mean, he's riding.
It's a sign of intent, isn't it?
It is. Well, I think they've realised, or maybe come to the same conclusion, that Springfield Fox has a bit of a huff if he doesn't lead.
Yeah.
And how do you lead? You put David Bass or
Ride
Harry
of the
Skelton
season.
On.
Okay, we saw something from James Bowen in the week, which was astonishing. We've seen a couple of ones in Ireland on the one reigning thing, but ride of the season, Bassy on full flow. in the Clarence House, putting it up. The tactics were just so bold, weren't they?
It was the instant they got him at it. It was the instant they hit the fall, the dip. He just went, right, this is a premeditated plan, bang. And
brilliant.
Great ride.
Watch that back, full flow. Can he take out a champion Chase?
First flow, isn't it?
Yeah, first flow.
You like him? Tom Scal likes him, didn't he?
It's first flow.
First flow, yeah.
What
did I
full
call
flow.
Did I call him fourth flow?
Yeah, he did full flow, yeah.
We're getting close to Neon Wolf's half.
Yeah, getting distracted.
The young Wolf. I am getting distracted. He's coming up to the Close Brothers Chase.
Little Red Lion's been very.
I should really go to Keith Melrose for this because with a blindfold on, he could call it.
Springfield Fox has been really put prominently this time. He's up there with the Dutchman early on and Cyclops there too. Oh, we've got an error from Salty Boy. That's a good thing, a good sign, isn't it? Given as the one danger was always going to be whether he would jump round or not, and he's hit the first. So Springfield Fox has got to the front this time. Coming to the second, Bass is riding into it, surprise, surprise. And then he gets over. Salty Boy left his legs in it again. We've got in the midfield, Strong Economy's giving the outside to no one. Cross Park settled nicely in midfield. And out the back, you've got Crossley Tenders held up as he tends to be. Big Rivers in midfield. We've got Sam's Adventure on the inside, 4/5 of the way back. And after that, you've got Hollisons out the back with a lot of horses that are generally big prices. Friends Don't Ask being another one of them. So Springfield Fox has got to the front for the first time this season. So we'll find out whether it's that his head's gone for now or whether it's that he just needs to be a horse that goes off in front.
This is the acid test this season for Springfield Fox.
It is. He's got no excuses now, unless he needs the slop as well as to be in front. And to be honest, if he gets to that stage, there's no point following him anyway anymore because you just have to concede that he's a horse that needs a lot to be in his favour.
I'll tell you what, this could be interesting. Springfield Fox, he's out in front, Barry. He can't go quick enough usually. He's got 4.5 miles pretty much to go. What's the market saying about him?
13, so 9.4 trading at now in running, so that's an indication of his chances. Salty Boy, the market hasn't reacted badly to the mistakes that Keith's picking out there. He's 4.4. He had a Betfair SP of 5.6. 7.6 Crossley Tender. Sam's Adventure 9.8. 8.8 Cross Park. 13 Strong Economy. They all seem to be travelling well in themselves.
Okay, let's pick it up then as they're going out onto the... How many laps do they do it?
2 more.
Just 2 more laps. What should we chat about? Anything you like. Ask me about my youth if you like. I'll give you... No, fair enough. Let's not go there. Well, no, honestly, this is the part though. If you're watching this race now, you're like...
We should start talking about Mrs. Jenkins's cakes because it's test match special this.
Right,
we should
okay.
Do a handover, talk for a minute while we hand over and somebody comes and sits down at the end of the over.
Did you used to watch a lot of test match cricket? Is that... Yeah.
No, I've listened to TMS sometimes, yeah, but that's about the length of it.
Test match special.
Cricket doesn't happen in Scotland. We don't really have it.
Big River's got a reminder there.
Big River's being lazy.
That's per.
It's barely news, is it?
Well, Bruce.
So here we go. No,
so
Springfield. He does. He backs. He's one of the. He's head of the fan club. Springfield Fox, that fence down the side. He jumps it. Strong Economy still giving the outside to no one. Friends Don't Ask has made a bad mistake there. Massive reminder for that was above the shoulder on Big River there. He is a grifter. He's on the take, lads.
He's a grifter.
This is it. Game over.
Is that what you called it? Is that the one you called a grifter?
Yeah. If he spits it out today, he's having you on, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's mugging you off.
Fair enough.
Yeah, pull him up.
Yeah, he's going to pull him up.
He's been mugging you off all this time.
Big River's looking like he's struggling already. He just doesn't fancy it. I'd say this drying ground, even though it's sort of softer side.
It might be, but if you get behind it on an Eider, dear me. So here we go.
If you get behind in an Eider, dear me. Whoa, that's what we love about Racing Post Live at the Betfair Exchange. We don't know we're dictated to by the racing. Some of the sayings that come out. If you get behind in an Eider, oh dear, G in your exam results, I think. Where's Cyclops? Where's he at
He's third on the outside. Salty Boy is right on the inside. There's about 4 horses. You could fit several buses between him and Salty Boy, even though they're upside, really. And Springfield Fox is getting a little bit loose out there.
Bass is really making his mind up.
He is. Bass thinks he's on first floor.
This was the plot. This was the plan. We'll book David Bass. We'll make him look like he's out of form. We'll put the pieces on. We'll go to the Eider.
Cheek pieces in David Bass. It is honestly like putting a lightning rod up in the air and hoping it strikes. It's
Charlie Post had us in absolutely stitches.
Strong Economy's belted that one.
Posty had us in stitches. He said that he was selling some horses and Bailey and Bass came down to road test a couple. And he said it was like having a nutty teenager driving a Rolls Royce. Apparently he was firing them at all the fences. He was just like, no!
It's good. He's a poster boy for the aggressive rides, which I think are the thing you want over fences.
Yeah. It's been advertised so well this season.
When I've looked into it all the time, when I looked into the sort of data, you see how horses speed up and slow down, and they lose about 15% of their speed at a fence. And what's the way you can stop you can understand yourself. If you go for a run and you stop, you can't start again.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. Horses that don't lose that ground are going to be running more efficient races, and that's what Bass is doing by riding his horses into every fence, even in 4-mile races like this. That's what he's doing. He's saving lots and lots of energy,
And it gives them a breather as well in the air, doesn't it?
And this is more like the lovable Springfield Fox that we saw last season as a novice.
Yeah, this is this horse that I put up a year ago now for the Welsh National.
Here we go. Not today though, Keith.
Not today, absolutely not today. Salty Boy's made another little mistake. There's a mistake there from Friends Don't Ask Again. He's made a few now. So nothing else is really putting out the distress signals. I assume Big River's been pulled up. He's probably halfway to Sunderland and he's so far behind.
He's in the horse box already, I think, isn't he?
He's gone home. He's gone home crying to his mother.
Strong Economy's catching my eye, guys, on the outside.
He really did belt one down the back. But apart from that, he's going quite well. To be honest,
travelling sweet in the cheek pieces, Dave, for sure.
You've got no reason not to be travelling in this race. The way they've gone so far, it's not been a strong gallop on. There's a few horses are struggling because a lot of horses, no horses bred to stay for, or very few horses are bred to stay for.
Line of the day, if you get behind in an Eider, dear me. And who's that getting a reminder out the back there? Hollis in, another Lucinda Russell also. Not going to go back to the yard. I've had a winner on the card already today. So
Sam's Adventure's keeping a low profile, still halfway down the field, right on the rail behind Salty Boy.
When does it start getting manic, the gallop?
Well, what happens is they'll jump this fence here down the side of the course and then they hit the back straight. They're quite stiff fences and horses will try and make them move then. It's not like Warwick, but think of it a little bit in terms of the way you make your move on a run of fences. You can make mistakes while you're making your move, but that's where you'll make your move from behind and out.
When they leave the back straight, that's when the men.
And then when they get to when they turn in, they've still got 4 to jump at Newcastle. Not too like at Warwick, but as a rule in the Eider, if you're not there jumping 4 out, you're not there. Yeah,
it can make a good jump, and then on the far side looking a little
Cyclops
bit
starting to get ridden along. He might be the next one to crack.
He's had a very good season, Cyclops, hasn't he? But this would be. He's had a lot of racing, and this would be a much bigger one. A step up in class for him. The Dutchman coming back into.
If you're on anything in the sort of, apart from Big River at the higher end of the market, you're not beat yet. Everything's
what
still
about Crossley Tender? He's catching the eye under a bit of a straight TC.
Yeah, classic ride on Crossley Tender, isn't it? You bide your time and
but at Exeter, they went hard for him. They've not done here.
This close to the pace ever in a
No,
race.
he has. You're absolutely right about that, Barry. He's moved up. He's decided it's probably a good.
Red Lion goes.
Red Lion's gone. That was a heavy fall. Hope he's
up
okay.
On his feet, fine.
He is up on his feet.
made a mistake too.
Strong Economy, just as Barry mentioned it, he was. It's absolutely the curse.
Springfield Fox wasn't great there either.
When do you start getting really excited about Salty Boy? Loads of people out there.
Oh, he's jumped that one well. This is where you're in it either now. Cross Park looks like he's gone now.
Oh, he's gone.
Strong Economy's off the bridle because of that mistake. Sam's Adventure tanks. He tanks, but that's what you expect him to do because it's stamina that's going to beat him if anything.
Okay, Sam's Adventure.
The Dutchman starts second all the way.
In there.
Cyclops still there. He's still hanging in.
Bass making his mind.
Oh, huge
the Dutchman's unseated.
You cursed the Dutchman, I don't believe it.
And hampered
Salty Boy on the way through. Sam's Adventure's now off the bridle. Strong Economy's back on the bridle.
Cross Park coming back for a little bit more as well. Springfield Fox, this is a huge jump.
Oh, Salty Boy asked for one.
Salty Boy delighted. He's got. I tell you what, Cyclops back on the bridle. Have I called that one a bit too soon?
Crossley Tender's coming to. He's travelled in.
Sam's Adventure looks like he's going as well as Crossley Tender. Oh, the guys in the gallery have had a good go at
Sam's Adventure, Cross Park is travelling really well now.
Turning in then for the 221 Eider. Come on, who calls it? Here comes Sam's Adventure at a price. Salty Boy needs to rally.
Salty Boy is starting to pick up, but Cyclops still there. Sam's Adventure, if he stays.
On, Crossley on the inside.
Cross Park's going to have a right chance from here, hasn't he?
It will, yeah, but we know what he trades according to Barry. He doesn't see him out. Salty Boy's looking like he's
Crossley Tender travels probably best.
Sam's Adventurous is 3 out.
Yeah, it's 3 out. Sam's Adventure's in front.
Crossley Tender.
Crossley Tender travels so well.
Crossley Tender. I'll tell you what, he's got this, isn't he? Sam's Adventure coming to the second last with Crossley Tender. They're pulling clear.
It's those two. Salty Boy stays on.
It's too late for Salty Boy. Sam's Adventure sticks his neck out. He's got a bit of class. Crossley Tender's there.
Sam's Adventure.
I'll tell you what,
he's got 2 lengths. He's got 2 lengths. Salty Boy's going to finish third. Sam's Adventure up.
Crossley Tender's going to get him on the run-in. Unbelievable scenes in the Eider.
Oh, he's coming back. Sam's Adventure's coming back. He's got him.
Unbelievable.
He's got him.
Sam's Adventure is going to make amends for that fall in the Peter Marsh. What a ride that was by Henry Brook. Crossley Tender for Tom O'Brien, Paula Henderson. I tell you what, the guys in the gallery are absolutely on the floor. That was the one they liked at the 5-day decks. Second, though, for Crossley Tender. What a race that was.
Tremendous, isn't it?
Brilliant race. Great race.
See?
Are you sold?
Yeah, I mean, when you get thrilling
You're
finishes
saying that
like
because you're betting it as sitting next to you.
No, you get thrilling
You
finishes
didn't
like
cuss
that.
his commentary. I know. I'm going to get out of the studio. I'm going to go. Didn't think much of his commentary. But great stuff. Great scenes.
I'm just waiting for the 5 mile race for Salty Boy. I think.
Certainly, you're going to have to think about what's going on up there with Salty Boy. I think
He's lazy old sod, isn't he?
Yeah.
he wants 10 miles. I think, doesn't he? Velka
But also, what happened? What the 2 fences down the back, he got hampered at the first, and he took off too early at the other, and that was the point where he got that lost in the race.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's go to
You might not have
Barry
won
because
without,
it was neck and neck bobbing finish. Barry.
Yeah, unbelievable. Sam's hit a high of 16. More money done at 14. Cross Park 4-1 on. He traded at Strong Economy, hit a low of 4.3. Would you believe it? I don't think he's ever been that short in his life, except when he's passing the post. And the horse that David Bass rode, Springfield Fox.
Yeah.
He traded at a low of 3.15. Would you believe it?
Wow. He wanted to
I'm not
go
surprised because the thing is, you're worried as soon as that horse gets out in the front and starts looking like it's comfortable. You're worried because he's very well handicapped.
Is it too far for him?
Yeah, I don't think he's
I just don't think he's in the best of form, and he's But
That was more like it, wasn't it?
It was more like it for him. Give him a chance again next season. What I would say would be from a more sort of storyish point of view about this race. Sam's Adventure is obviously trained by Brian Ellison. I remember being at Newcastle the day Seymour got mugged in the Northumberland Plate.
Pitman's Derby.
And Brian Ellison he's a proper Geordie lad. He absolutely loved it, and he was in tears that day after Seymour got beat. So he's won one of Newcastle's big ones.
Yeah.
So it's good to see that for Brian Ellison's sake. But it was a smashing finish. Crossley Tender came to win that, but Sam's Adventure, would he stay was the question, and well, he definitely did, didn't he?
I'm assuming he's in the National, Barry, Sam's Adventure.
Sam's Adventure is, I think, Dave. Yeah, I'm just waiting to get an update from the lads. Midlands Nationals he's in.
Midlands
8 from
National.
16.
Oh, yeah, you can see him going well.
He won the novice handicap chase on the same card last
Waits
year.
out for the Midlands National, yeah?
I don't think so.
No, okay, all right.
But yeah, he won. Sam's Adventure's good form last year was winning the novice handicap chase on the card.
He did indeed. Barry?
Cross Park hit a low of 2.26 as well.
He's golden.
Just to add to his recent repertoire.
That's it. It's all about self-advertisement in this game, I'll tell you. Okay, let's go for the final race then this Saturday. What fun we've had. It has been good, hasn't it? Let us know how you're getting on out there. What do you like in the last? The Close Brothers. Who's the star performer today? Have we seen anything for Cheltenham? Maybe the Grand National? Let us know. We're going to be here, hopefully, weather allowing, every Saturday going forward in 2021 for you. Amazing scenes. We will bring it to you. You get all the plots here. You get to see where they're coming. The real market that is the Betfair Exchange. What is it saying for the old Racing Post Chase, Barry?
Yeah, you had a favourite anti-post in this, Captain North for Jack Tudor, your jockey, and he's absolutely friendless in the market. Must be the ground, I would imagine. He's out to 11.
Wow.
Your new favourite is a past Betfair hurdle winner, Al Dancer for Sam Twiston Davis, 7.2, along with Southfield Stone for Paul Nichols, who's also 7.2 chance. Slate House is in there at 10, Clondalk Castle 12. The Butcher said money for him at 11. Mellow Ben 16.5.
There must be low sun if they're back in Slate House.
What? Oh, come on, we'll get to that in a minute.
Skipping fences.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm back in. I'm going to back the Butcher set. I backed it last day, like we were chatting earlier in the Sky Bet Chase. He traded 7-4 that day. They've done his wind. They've getting better ground today. He's had a good run in the hurdle race here last year as well. I still think he retains some ability. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to back him and look to lay him back in running because he will trade short in running because he travels so well. So we're going to have 25 quid on him to win at around the 11.5 mark. And then we're going to look to lay him back at around even money. I'm going to get greedy here. We're going to look to lay an even 100 quid him in running, and we'll select the keep bet function. So that bet stays live even when this race goes in play. Ordinarily, the bets are cancelled if you don't select the keep bet function. So yeah, a little bit greedy here. Looking to green up, fingers crossed for the Butcher said and Ollie Murphy.
Okay, the Butcher said once bitten, twice shy, but Paul Keeley and the Satay Sizzlers, he gives it a big old mention too. We chatted about him yesterday when we were doing a feature together, and this is the third wind operation he's had. Yeah. I said he's an absolute
you think
hound.
You think he's a dog, and I think he can't breathe.
Yes.
Was a summation of our conversation, really.
It's not like he doesn't win, the Butcher said, and he's only an 8-year-old. He's got form closely matched in with some of these, but he tends to win not immediately after a win.
Well, yeah, he's won after the second start after his last 2
It's
wind
a great
drops.
formula for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be. And he's only had 4 weeks since he last. Is it 4 weeks or 5 weeks since he last ran in the Sky Bet Chase? 4, and he's had a wind up in that time. Horse that's coming in, that's had that short a time between its 2 runs getting a wind up, and also has that record in second time up, like we've already discussed. I said before I saw what Keeley put up today, I thought, whatever happens today, I'm putting him in my notebook for next time, because that tends to be his day. But Keeley said, right, well, he is 14s though, lads, and let's just take the chance that the breathing sorts him out immediately, which...
And the ground ought to help him on that front, I think. He does
It
like
should
good
do,
ground.
yeah, and I think one day he might just pick up one of these races. I'm quick to call horses ungenuine, but I think this horse's issues are primarily physical. A little bit like Tidal Bay was a bit like that. He always said he was a dog. I think most of his issues were physical.
The most talented of dogs out there. Which, if you don't know what that means they bark and they make a bit of noise as soon as a calico, if you like, from the previous race, where they don't quite go fully through with their effort. 17 runners then. ASO is out. It's a serious race and it's 6-1 the field. I don't like Al Dancer. I think they need headgear that's not been invented yet for him.
I think he's a bit of a thinker.
Oh, he definitely is. And 3 miles, I'm just not sure about it. Stinks of last chance. And I don't like horses that are ridden cold in this race. I think you're going to want to be up there. I'm all over Young Wolf. I've been saying it all week. They've been a proper plunge on him now. I think we can say that. His form on good ground is different class. He's a brother to Neon Wolf, the ill-fated Neon Wolf. Nearly won a Ballymore. And Lakeview lad as well. He was a really, really good horse. So I think there's a big one in him. He needs a personal best. He needs a clear round. But why have they been running him in the winter? Got him £5 down the handicap. They couldn't have asked for better ground. He is my big pick for this, TC.
Well, I'm about to get slated because I'm with Slate House. Now,
The day he jumps, he'll win.
the thing is, when he won the Corto Start, was it the Corto Start at Kempton last time he won over his course and distance? He jumped really well throughout. He's only 4 subsequent starts. 3 have come at Cheltenham. He doesn't like the track, I'm convinced. In the Bet Victor Gold Cup, on his second start after his previous wind surgery, he loomed on the outside and was going to win. That was obviously before the Corto Start victory. Loomed up on the outside, was going to win, knuckled on landing, fell. 3 subsequent starts at Cheltenham. Doesn't like the track, doesn't jump very well there. Then last time at Wincanton, he made a bad mistake at the first, obviously really bad mistake at the last. Apart from that, he jumped really nicely. Second time up after wind surgery again. So as we saw last time, second time up after his first wind surgery, was going to win the Bet Victor Gold Cup. He's going to run a big race in here. This is going to be the target. Switch in ground to better ground. Tizard's horses largely come back to form when you get good ground in the forecast on the going stick. And I just feel like the Tizard horses are really going to bounce back now. Slate House is so well handicact. He's going to win a race. He's got the ability to win.
That
must have been a compelling case you made, TC, because he's doubled in price while you were talking.
Exactly that. They're all slating that talk up.
Southfield Stone's going to go a favourite on the exchange.
It looks that way, doesn't it? Clondalk Castle, you're hoping the Springfield Fox colours last longer?
I do indeed. You've got to take the chance of him staying 3 miles, but I think that Peterborough Chase is the best form in the field this season.
And he's since finished second to Master Tommy Tucker, who ran second in the Ascot Chase last week.
Yeah, that's probably his least impressive run this season for me, Clondalk Castle. But
they're off. They are off and running. And as expected,
pleased
the
to see
butchers said has gone right to the back of the field along with Delir Destraval. Another one keeps on. My goodness me, they are absolutely trapping.
They tend to calm
Five
down.
furlong pace, isn't it? Mellow Ben's up there. Who else is up there? Black Corton as expected. Oh, I'll tell you what, Eric the Red, Young Wolf had a little look at it as well. Eric the Red didn't lie down at all. Young Wolf, that wasn't a great time.
They're going fast to a ditch.
They're just going too quick. This is ridiculous pace, this, isn't it? Mellow Ben.
This is going to suit Slate House.
Gracious me.
This is like watching an old national, isn't it?
Experience will be a big key already in this race. This is remarkable.
Mellow Ben has got the lead, so now he's going to calm down.
Yeah.
Basically, he does calm down a bit.
So Richard Johnson was basically playing chicken with the other jockeys on the front.
That was like watching. That was genuinely like watching something at Royal Ascot. That they absolutely trapped.
They know they've got that decent run to the first bend, so they've gone hell for leather. Mellow Ben's established himself in the lead and they've calmed it down, turning into that.
Good old double shuffles up there. The course specialist beaten in this race a couple of times, but didn't he come good last time? He's got his ground up there in the orange as well, looking for Eric Lared. He is indeed a course specialist. Young Wolf's gone back in the pack after having a look at that first. I'll tell you what, for any novice in the race, that must have been a real sight going to that first. Southfield Stone, he's up there.
It's
Where's
basically
Roman de Seman, a horse that Senam.
Middle div. He's a horse that sometimes struggles with his jumping.
Yeah.
Now we've basically got a breakaway here, like in cycling. You've got 4 horses that are about 5 lengths clear of anything else. No, the peloton's the main pack, Dave.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay, Bruce would go mental if I said that. And he found that out. Again, Tour de France, got no idea really what that's all about. So Talk is Cheapers at the back. Finger on the Switch is at the back as well, isn't it? It was money for him. Millie Wallacott, she's been showing.
Eric LaRouge has seen enough. He's gone back into the peloton.
Is that right? Okay, cycling analogy. Al Dancer, if you're on him, he's got a nice sit on the inside. More forward ridden than I thought he might be. After having a good look at that first, Young Wolf's gone to the back.
The Butcher
Soupy
said
Soups.
last of all. He's about
What a surprise.
25 lengths off the
Soupy
pace.
Soups we should mention. Pulled up last time at Nil Mulholland, 2 from 3 in this race. Walt, of course, won it a couple of years back. The 3 are going clear. Who's that in second? Oh, it's Mr. Malarkey, isn't it? Last year's winner. In fact, last year's 1-2 are in the race, aren't they? Let's see how they get over this one.
Well, Dancer's absolutely worn that.
Oh, okay. It's worn the fence. Al Dancer, as I said, is something not quite right about him upstairs, I don't think. Slate House right out the back, TC.
Yeah, given a classic ride by Tom Skewin here, taking Robbie Power's instructions, I imagine. And Slate House actually jumping all right. You know, he would benefit from a fast gallop and to travel into his race better. These leaders have gone far too quick.
He's
going too quick
this
now.
is
But what he gets,
miraculous pace.
Melo Ben, Richard Johnson now gets to do what he wants down the back. He can keep rolling. He can steady it. He's got a lot
Not very
more
efficient though, is it?
Maybe not, but he's got more options than the runners in the main pack.
True.
Yeah,
That's why they do it.
My
He knows
project,
he's
Young
going
Wolf,
too quick.
I tell you what,
Yes.
guys, this is taking him out of his comfort zone. He's a novice and he's going to. I tell you what, he must have gone big. I think now, Barry, hasn't he? What is the market saying about the breakaway 3?
Yeah, at the moment, Southfield Stone is still your favourite. He went off favourite on the exchange at 7.2. He's 5.8 in running on the Betfair Exchange. Mellow Ben into 7.2. He had a Betfair SP of 14. Double Shuffle 8.6. Captain Nord into 9. Some support for that in running. Al Dancer, the big drifter, having Betfair SP of 9.6 is out to 22 in running.
Thank you. So how long will Mellow Ben last? He's a horse that does like decent ground and they've been trying to get him out in front in some of these big handicaps. He's got loads of form in them but not a lot of wins to his name. But he's out at the moment in front.
They've steadied it right up on having gone hell for leather on
this
that
is
stretch.
the final steady then. So this is surely where the closest TC want to start making a move.
Yeah, they'll start to be a more compact group. Southfield Stone's jumping markedly left, which is a worry if you're on the favourite.
Okay, looking for Al Dancer. He's at the back. Clondor Castle.
He's midfield on the outside of Al Dancer.
He's actually going well, isn't he?
Travelling nicely.
Al Dancer's worn about 3 fences, so he's going better than him.
Yeah. Like I say, looking for Delir Destraval, Young Wolf, that looking out first, I'd say that scared him witless. The Butchers
Clondor Castle's,
as well.
tell you what, he's making up ground very smoothly, isn't he?
Yeah, Clondor Castle is going very, very well. It's just whether that marker 154 will catch him out. Okay, so Eric the Red then, Eric LaRouge, absolutely loves Kempton for Team Williams. Jamie Moore booting this one into the lead. Mellow Ben
What a
surely
funny
gonna
ride this
start
has been
going
from
backwards.
Moore, because he wanted nothing to do with that early. He was in the first 4 and then he sat
Could he
off.
go the pace? I don't know. He was the one that made the error at the first that put off the likes of Young Wolf out the back, I think.
I think Moore just wanted to be close enough so that he could do this, basically.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, listen, we're about 6 out.
Oh,
in the
Clondor
Close
Castle's hit
Brothers
that one.
Chase.
Oh, Southfield Stone's gone.
Yeah, his jumping
Southfield
was
Stone
gone.
has gone. That was a perfect
Roman DeSint
fall.
Am's travelled quite well into it. Captain Ord's
Here
off the
comes
bridle.
Captain Orr, the
He's
big
the last
drifter
one
in the market.
Slate House still travels, but I think Captain Ord's the furthest back that can
Turning
win.
in then, Eric the Red, Ronan de Senam. This would be he was beaten in the race last year. Came good though for Team Skelton. Clondor Castle, surely he's going to be the closer, isn't he? Double
He is
shuffle
closing
looks
now
like he's crying
on
enough.
sufferance, which you wouldn't want to see for a horse going up in trip, but he is making that ground.
This gallop has been absolutely mad. The Butcher said far too back to have a say today. Over we go, 3 out. Eric the Red, he's just going to keep going, is he? Mr.
Clondor
Malarkey,
Castle
lost
must-
his winner.
Clondor
Can
Castle's
Captain
won this,
Mir-
hasn't
Come
he?
on then, come on then, Keith, keep
Clondor.
this up. This is going to get it, isn't he, on the
He
inside?
must, if he stays, he must win.
This
Go
has
on.
got the great form. Come on, Keith.
Yeah.
So too home he is. Over he goes. Roman de Senam struggling. Eric LaRouge got no more to give. Mr. Malarkey, he is the stayer for Tizard. And Harry Kimber taking second. But in front.
If it just
is
gets over the last
Clondor
and stays-
Castle. Johnny
Go on,
Burke,
he's
over
won
he
it.
goes. Keith Melrose has absolutely nailed it. There's the little flick of the hand as Clondor Storm takes out a big handicap for Tom George. Fair play if you're on the likes of Mr. Fisher for the Ryanair. What a boost that Peterborough Chase has indeed got. A brutal pace, TC.
Yeah, a really good run from Mr. Malarkey to manage to finish 3rd in that race. He went with the leader Mellow Ben. Eric LaRouge also ran a very good race, finished 2nd. But strangely enough, those that were held out right out the back never got involved. Slate House never involved. The Butcher said never involved.
It is a race that you just cannot get too far back.
But they went so quick, you would assume they would at least play a hand at some point. No.
Have you seen a chase in the last... I can't remember the last time I was in staying handicap chase
Proper
go
pace
that quick.
collapses. Yeah, that's the thing. They've gone fast enough to cut their own throats. They're not fast enough to let horses that gave them a 30-length start back in. You know,
Absolute
that's the
madness.
difference if you've got there.
And if you're worried about the Tizard horses not running well at all, as Tom said, Mr. Malarkey ran an absolute bomb. I'm just looking down to see what his mark was when he won this last year. He was 147.
Clondor Castle in midfield at the start.
Yeah, he was in midfield.
So he was the only actual horse that came out in midfield because Roman de Senham, who finished 4th, was at the front of the pack.
Yep.
Who was 5th? Captain Orr. He's a stayer anyway.
Yeah,
but Clondor Castle was the
Captain
only horse
Orr
that really
has
made
just
all the
found
ground.
this.
But he made up
different
ground so
ball game.
smoothly down that
the
back.
back,
He
yeah.
was because he's got the form over shorter.
He has the speed, doesn't he?
They steadied it up just enough that he's come back into the race at that point, and you can tell they quicken at the end of the back because that's when he comes off the bridle.
Yeah.
Well done, Keith Melrose. Takes out the big handicap, the final race here then on Racing Post Live on a very dramatic and exciting and fun Saturday. Let's go to Barry Orr for the story of the Close Brothers Handicap.
Yeah, not a massive story. Eric LaRouche traded at a low of 2.40. Mr. Malarkey 3.45. Your winner had a Betfair SP of 11.0, so bang on 10-1 versus an industry SP of 17-2.
Brilliant. Thanks, Barry. Okay.
The most intelligent ride in the race was Jamie Moores, I thought.
Yeah, made the move at the right time.
He sat on the second.
Yeah.
Eric LaRouche, who just loves Kempton, doesn't he?
Sat what he did because he noticed what the front three were doing. He thought, I don't want any of this, lads. So he sat, but he didn't go quite back into the pack. He sat a couple of lengths ahead of the main pack and let others do what they wanted up front. And then down the back when he settled, he thought, right, well, they're going steady now. And he tried to steal it off the front then. It was a very
First time
intelligent
blinkers
ride.
for him has lit him up. And Jamie Moore, made up his mind a bit. He's only 7. Is there a chase at the Silver meeting? The Saturday
there is. The Lure Deschanel won it last year.
Okay.
So he might go for that. He might
16 from 33 for the Ultima.
The winner?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Will they go there?
Well, he gets his
not out
mark.
yet.
Does he get his mark?
Do you think they run him in the Ryanair?
He's won out of 154. So, it wouldn't be the worst thing to do in the world. But
Third in the Peterborough, he didn't quite get the rub of the green that day, did he?
No, I think they should be going for a handicap. I don't know what they'll run him in, but that was, he's just won the old Racing Post Chase. That's the day. They've done it. Well done.
Well done to
Round
you,
of
Keith
applause.
Melrose. Well, so we've knocked in a few, haven't we, along the way? What was the highlight? There is the result on the screen. Kempton Close Brothers Handicap Chase result. Clondor Castle, 72 happy days. Eric LaRouche, Kempton form, Mr. Malarkey as well.
Kempton
Roman
form.
de Senham, who has come back in no uncertain terms. A 3-mile winner, but maybe they'll be looking at something for him, the Scottish Air meeting as well.
Tell you what they've done with him, the Skeletons have got him, and he jumps much better.
Yeah.
Roman de Senham.
He used to be much for the Skeletons.
I used to back him a lot when he was at Nichols, but he couldn't jump in his big handicaps.
Well beaten in this race. Was it 2 years ago last year?
He was travelling really well in a Paddy Power Gold Cup and things like that, and fell, and he's just never been a great jumper, but the Skeletons have got him jumping.
Fantastic stuff. Highlights of the afternoon, TC.
Oh, that was the Eider finish, and I'm going to put that out there because I didn't expect the Eider to be the highlight, but that finish was really good. And Sam's Adventure, who lost all momentum at the last fence, managed to rally back, and you just love to see that in a horse.
And it wouldn't be the end of a TC shift without asking you for something unpronounceable running in the US later.
Yeah, well, it's arguably the best card that we're going to have before the Kentucky Derby meeting, so it's a really, really good card at Gulfstream. Fountain of Youth Stakes is the highlight. There's 7 graded events on the card of the Fountain of Youth. 11-18 or something similar.
You knew your stuff.
I think it's a race 14 or 14.
Gone from the Eider to Gulfstream.
Yeah, so it's a late one, but it's a real Kentucky Derby trial. The favourite will win that race, Greatest Honour, but that's not a tip because too short, 13-8 currently. He's a really nice horse though, Greatest Honour. 4 tips.
Oh, blimey, here we go.
I'll rattle them quickly. Okay, first one, 9:29 at Gulfstream, race 11, horse called Zafel. Formerly with Hugo Palmer over here, David Milnes put up a really good pre-race report ahead of her debut when she won at Doncaster for Hugo Palmer. She was always held in high regard. Moved over to Brendan Walsh in the US. Good off a layoff. She won off a 7-month layoff on her return.
You've got 3 more to get out. It's
Quickly,
in the all the time.
I'm getting a stopwatch out.
Eider will be quicker.
Won the Marshall's River really well last month. Red Ortiz gets aboard tonight. Should beat Got Stormy, who's the odds-on favourite. Second tip is Jose Ortiz aboard this one. Antoinette in the 10:36.
There's a lot of Ortizes out there, aren't there?
2 of the best riders, flat riders in the world, top 10, both of them. That's the 10:36 Gulfstream, race 13. Jose Ortiz for Brendan Walsh, for Bill Mott, have a 75% strike rate together.
Come on, just tell us the names of the horses, TC.
All right, Dance Recital, 9:47 Tampa.
So you want your own show for this?
Needs to be given one.
Absolutely brilliant. I think we're on the second one, I'm afraid to say, Barry. I've already forgot the name of the first. Fountain of the Youth Stakes or something.
And the last one is Cathkin
Lives in
Peak.
your audience.
Oh, excellent.
I've been mocked here.
You are being mocked. Come on, the third one.
The third
There
one.
are people actually out there want to hear this.
I mean, if people want winners, Third one is Dance Recital with a 9:47 at Tampa. That ran a really good race behind a Grade 1 horse on debut and a maiden. Should win second time up. And Cathkin Peak in the 12.26 at Santa Anita, race 8.
Tell you how long that took. Slate House is finished.
Absolutely brilliant. Oh,
You put
10
them on
points
Twitter,
on
Tom,
looking
yeah.
at it.
Yeah, they're on Twitter, yeah.
They're on
At Thompson RP.
And
follow me.
after all of that, all you got to do is go to his Twitter handle. It won't take us long, no doubt. Keith, great to have you back down again. Highlight, probably just bookended, haven't we?
Just that last 40 minutes. Never been higher.
Never been. He got 2 kids to go home to, but the Eider Chase down here will do. We'll see you. When
I'm next week. I'm next week.
Happy days next week. Then we'll see you next week. It's been great. Thanks to Barry Orr out there in Dublin. We'll both be back next week. Let's hope you will too.